Very good evening, everybody. Nice to have your company wherever you're tuning in, all around Australia or indeed the world. On the platforms of the Gentleman Sim Racing Club, welcome to the west coast of America and the start of the second half of Term 3 as far as Monday Night Motorsport is concerned. And another new venue ticked off the list of circuits that have been visited by the Gentleman Sim Racing Club. Tonight, it's Willow Springs International Raceway, and it's hosting Orbic Australia GT4. Later on tonight, we'll bring you the end split of Waste Options GT3. That'll be coming to you from the circuit to Barcelona, Catalunya, and it'll be a 60-minute affair there. Looking forward to that immensely. But in the meantime, yes, it's August 14, 2023. That clock is looking beautiful at 5 o'clock in the afternoon. We're about to tick over into the race server, ladies and gentlemen, so that'll update in a few moments' time. 13 kilometre an hour winds, 21 degrees, the ambient temp 28 on track, and we are set fair for what should be a cracker of a night at the office. The new venues are always an unknown entity. It's always interesting to see who manages to conquer the challenge the best, and whether anyone else can string a surprise. As opposed to what we have come to expect on a regular basis from this series. The field here tonight, enormous, 32 deep. There's the championship standings. 248 for Sam Muir, Jared Knight on 223, 220 for Greg Favell, Sam Chapman 193, and Gary Cousins 189. Further back, Jordan Malcolm, Oliver Patterson, Nick Fodiatis, and also Michael Hammond, with Nick Wood making up the top 10. 99 points covers first through ninth. 2 Mercs, a BMW, an Aston, and 6 Porsches in the top 10 at the moment. Those Porsches will be here to fight tonight, no doubt about that. Top 5 rows see 5 Mercs, 4 Porsches, and an Aston Martin. Sam Muir, Jordan Malcolm the front row, Reece Gosner, Sam Chapman the second row, Adam Burhop, Greg Favell the third row, Gary Cousins, Mikey Hammond the fourth row, and Sean McLaughlin and Russ Green from row 5. 6 is where you'll find Paul Wood and Braden Sagasa. 7, Nick Fodiatis and Nick Wood. 8, Dale Sharp and Jared Knight. 9, Anthony Visma and Juzzy B. And then, of course, Jake Jackson. Yes, Jake Jackson and Joe Paulwood from row 10. Liam Banks will be with us in the commentary box a little bit later on, hopefully. Alan Dawson's alongside him on row 11. Damien Taylor and Daniel Correa on row 12. And then, of course, you go back to Brendan Van Ryn and Michael Schroeder with Greg Padgett and Phil King. And also Greg Lenarzik and Wayne Vizza making up the top 15 rows on this grid. Eduardo Zamora from 31st. Everybody else a non-starter there. Getting ready to rock and roll. Orbic Australia GT4 from Willow Springs International. This is a wide, open, flowing, fast race track. Couple of tight little sections in the middle of the circuit.
I'm actually surprised.
Hello, Adam Lavis. Good evening to you.
Hey, yeah, I was quick to get in. I was going to say, I'm quite surprised that you won Aston in the top 10, because when we needed to practice with the Aussie racing guys, I was getting some good times around in the Aston, so a bit surprised it's not up there with some of the other guys.
Here we go. Pace car pulls off. Race gets underway for you, ladies and gentlemen. Orbic Australia GT4 leading into Waste Options GT3. Purple cars lead the field to green. Let's go. Come on, Barney, wave the flag anytime you like. There we go. Brilliant. Off and racing. Run down towards the first corner. Brilliant start. Sam Muir got across. Covered off Jordan Malcolm. Leads the field to turn 1. 2x2 running in the early stages will be very commonplace here, because it's a wider racetrack than what we were dealing with last week. And more than that, as a result of the width of the circuit, not least its open and flowing nature, at least in sectors 1 and 3, we should be set up for some very good racing tonight, and no shortage of overtaking opportunities. Field sorts itself out on the opening lap, and still 2x2 at the top end of town in parts. There's Sam Chapman being relegated to 5th place. Down on the inside went Adam Burhop. Down the hill they go to the tight left-hander. Uh-oh, trouble. Bye-bye. Sean McLaughlin. Oh, boy. Not the start of the night he would have been hoping for. Pete Matson off the road as well. And that's not a good look for Orbic Australia, the naming rights sponsor. In the meantime, we follow Greg Favell, giving Sam Chapman a little bit of a hurry along there. Wide coming onto the main straight was Adam Burhop. Oh, no, more trouble. Nick Fodiatis, is it? Uh-oh. He said to me earlier, looking forward to tonight, this Porsche will be in the thick of some action and some battles. Not now, it won't be. It's in the thick of the grass. But how did he end up there? More to the point. We'll find out very shortly. So this is week 6, night 1, ladies and gentlemen, term 3, the start of the second half of the season of this particular portion, this particular term of racing. We're enjoying it. We hope you are as well. Hopefully from this point forward, I think I've only got one more night where I'm not on deck. Big thanks to the crew for covering for me last Monday whilst I was off enjoying England and Nigeria at the FIFA Women's World Cup. And I tell you what, how good has that been? Of course, everyone getting around that at the moment. The World Cup semi-finals tomorrow night and Wednesday night, and then we're back with you on Thursday night. So there's sport right across the week, just the way we like it. Here's what happened on the opening lap to Paulwood. Oh, we had nowhere to go, and a squeeze job. Brendan Van Rin's under investigation, so too Daniel Correa-Sarr.
McLaughlin looks like he lost himself, just locked the rears up here, I think. I mean, he just touched the back of Sagassa.
He's tapped Sagassa. That'll do it every day of the week. And it was an off-camber sort of part of the racetrack as well. And that wouldn't have helped matters. That's what happened to Pete.
I don't think
he just disappeared.
I think it's more just the chimney casting. Oh, he did go off. He has gone off.
There he is. There he is. Brendan Van Rin's been in pit lane, has been for about a minute. Jack Jackson and Sean McLaughlin have both visited the dirt. This is what happened to Nick Fodiatis. Did he get some help? Please tell me he got some help. He wouldn't normally end up there. No, he did. He went too deep. Oh, wow.
He sucked the HDS carrying with him.
10-second penalty for Brendan Van Rin for the contact with Daniel Correa-Sarr, and Nick Fodiatis did clout the wall. He gave it a fair hit. See, and that's the thing. I mean, we mentioned last week during our coverage of the production cars that there was... Oh, no, there goes Daniel Correa-Sarr with Brendan Van Rin. That's the replay. That's why Brendan picked himself up a 10-second penalty. We mentioned that the circuit you guys were racing on in the Aston Martins last week was one of those circuits where overtaking opportunities come at a premium, and therefore, you had to really work hard for your overtaking opportunities. It was Magny-Cours in France, and therefore sometimes the pressure was actually being felt by the overtaking car rather than the car being overtaken. This week, because it's a new playground, a new circuit that we haven't been on before in iRacing circles, on GSRC platforms at least, it's one of those things where, well, how do I put this? It's one of those things where these guys are going to bring themselves undone because they're still learning the track. They're still coming to grips with it. They're still finding their braking markers, their turning points, their apexes, their race line. So you will see some uncharacteristic mistakes tonight. That one from Nick Fodiatis was one of them.
Should be good here with this top group here. It's basically most of the top 10. Being a nice open flowing track, Slipstream keeps the boys in it. So as long as they don't trip over each other, we should have a decent battle here for the rest of the race.
Indeed. Don't forget we'll have some splashing and dashing to do as well here. Oh, jeez. Jordan Malcolm.
It's so easy to run right that last corner. Nick Wood. Off.
In the woods. Sam Muir, Jordan Malcolm, Reece Gosner, Adam Burhop and Sam Chapman in the top 5. Chapman the fastest lap of the race, 1:18.783. And Malcolm under some serious pressure from Gosner. Oh boy. Merck leads Porsche. Merck, Porsche, Merck, Porsche, Merck. The top 10 at the moment. The incident involving Liam Banks and Anthony Visma's under investigation as well. Oh, jeez. That was flirting with the track limits. 6 minutes gone, 25 minutes the length here at this race, the distance. 19 minutes to go. We're clocking it around that 1:20 marker. Plus we've got a pit stop to come. So if we're talking about 1:20, we're talking 4 minutes, 3 laps. So 6 times 3 is 18 and 6 times 4 is 24. So that fits nicely. Of course, whatever time is left over would maybe get us to 19 laps because the pit lane transit isn't that terribly long here. There's Michael Hammond on screen at the moment, staying out of trouble. Keeping it clean. Minding his own business, but following the train, getting a nice little tow here from Greg Favell. But this train is 9 deep at the moment. That is the battle for the lead, ladies and gentlemen. It's almost similar to a Formula V or an XL race or a Moto 3 race. Fantastic. Let's go with boys indeed. That was the call. Look at the train of cars here. Porsche and Merc dominating the top end of town here. It's a Merc 1, 2, 3. And they're up on the outside. That was Braden Sagassa trying to get by Gary Cousins, and it didn't happen. Round they come. Main straight. Jordan Malcolm, 4th place at the moment.
I think Bohoff's been off at the last corner, all but like 2 laps.
Yes. Oh no. How good.
Oh no, there goes Jordan.
And that's a costly mistake for him as well, Adam, because he's dropped back to 4th as a result of that.
Well, it's one of the characteristics of this track, being so fast and flowy. You're committing to the corner on entry, so if you've overcommitted, you only find out once you get to the exit, and by then you're already off.
We've got Sam Muir leading the way. Reece Gosler is 2nd. Adam Burhop is 3rd. Oh, geez. Sam Chapman right there, putting the pressure on Jordan Malcolm. We ride on board. That's the gap. That's the margin. That's the buffer they're playing with. And behind Chapman, Favell, Hammond and Sagassa, you blink once here, you flinch, and you're going to lose time. You're going to lose track position. Suffice to say, Malcolm got lucky.
You see this last corner is really hard because you can't even see the apex till right now. Maybe you prep for it so much earlier and just sort of hope your car's in the right spot. It takes a lot of practice the last corner. It catches a lot of people out when they first come in.
Down the main straight, we're riding on board with Sam Chapman at turn 1. Look at the commitment from these blokes. Bouncing across the bumps. And this is play. Whoa, there goes Michael Schroeder. That Merc going through the weeds. Well out wide.
I think he's just done exactly what Nick's done.
Yep. Just gone a little bit too wide.
He has a little straight bit there just before you commit to your braking point, and then you
caught the grass.
Does he get the wall though? I think he is. Oh, the berm saved him. The berm has saved him.
How about that, eh? But it's cost him a lot of time and a couple of track positions as well. Interesting too, here comes Michael Hammond on the inside of Greg Favell. Wants to take Braden Sagassa with him. Hammond down the inside. Favell wants to respond with the up and under onto the main straight. They bounce off the ripple strips. They somehow don't come together. And up there on the outside now of Cousins of Sagassa is Gary Cousins, and he goes through to 8. Now the top 5 have split from this next 4. There it is on your screen. Michael Hammond in 6th place is bringing the next 4 along with him. It was a 9-car train. It's now 5 and 4. Now we've got pit stops underway as well, boys. So keep an eye on that.
And we've got some pressure for the lead.
And we've got some retirements too. Brendan Van Ryn, gone, done and dusted. Damien Taylor, gone. Anthony Visma, up there, but a lap down. Sean McLaughlin out there, having completed his stop, but a minute back on Jared Knight, or actually a minute down on the leader and 6 seconds down on Jared Knight. And Jared Knight has completed his stop too. So too Michael Schroeder, so too Greg Padgett, so too Dale Sharp and Russ Green. Everybody else yet to stop. Greg Padgett and Nick Fodiatis on lap 8, under investigation from race control now. We are on lap 8, 9 I should say, of what we suspect will be 19 here at Willow Springs.
Oh no, gas is off.
backwards in the weeds out in the outskirts of the final corner there. So another one bites it. How many victims has that final corner claimed already, Adam Lavis?
It is getting a tally.
Oh, yeah. Round they come again. Jordan Malcolm, third place at the moment. Fifth place, Sam Chapman. Whoa, more weeds being kissed and mowed there. Whippersnipping left, right and centre. That time round it was Adam Burhoff. He's got Sam Chapman all over the back of him. He's trying to stay with Jordan Malcolm. It's a 5-car fight for the lead. Now, that's the point that I needed to come back to. How many times have we seen this? We've just clocked over 12 and a half minutes. We've just passed halfway on the clock. But how many times have we seen a Porsche race play out like this or a GT race play out like this? But the top 5, happy to just follow the train, then let the gloves off and go to work once you've got through that pit stop sequence, once you've got through that pit stop cycle. Similar vibes here and now with GT4 for Orbic Australia.
Poor Damien Taylor had an in-and drop out.
Oh, no. Yep, that'll do it. Every day of the week. Across the line we go. Samuel Reese Gosner, Jordan Malcolm, Adam Burhoff and Sam Chapman in the top 5.
Oh, I think there's another one for the last corner. Oh, he's got the inside curve. The inside curve, that's the other option.
Oh, dear. And Banksy won't want to be reminded of that one when he jumps into the commentary box a little bit later on. But we will. Michael Schroeder. Oh, the back end just going out from under him.
Just got to unweighted over the crest there. Hold it, bro. Look out. Oh, Mikey's found his way on top 5. Look out.
Hammond. The bottom 4 of that top 9 have now caught up.
Oh, that's gone. Burhoff is gone.
Oh, Adam Burhoff in the weeds and through. He's cut the corner. He'll cop a slowdown, no doubt. Passed by Chapman. Passed by Favell. Sagassa wants to get in on this too and does so. Unlucky for Adam Burhoff. So something happened there before Burhoff ran off the road. Because we lost them. The top 3 lost 4th and 5th. Jordan Malcolm dives to pit lane, so too Michael Hammond. Yes.
Poor Sean McLaughlin was off the road again there. Okay, tonight.
Exactly. Now, actually, now that we're seeing that comment on the right-hand side of the screen, at It's Safari, that might explain the message that you sent me off air a moment ago there as well. I was trying to make sense of that, and I'm struggling, but you might be able to explain that to everybody at home. Samuel Reese Gosner, Sam Chapman, Greg Favell, Braden Sagassa, Adam Burhoff, Nick with the top 7 at the moment. It's interesting, yeah, because Burhoff and Chapman, I think it was. Whoa, there's a car backwards. Through that sequence of corners is a lapped car. We'll find out. Jake Jackson now kicking up dirt. Loses out to both Hammond and also, I think that's the back marker.
No, it's the guys that have pitted. That's Mikey. Oh, that's Michael Schroeder in the middle.
Michael Schroeder, yep. I was just trying to scroll down the timing monitor there to pick up the name.
We've got a bunch of people.
There's Greg Favell. So yeah, something had happened because for the longest time there, Samuel Reese Gosner, Jordan Malcolm had Adam Burhoff and Sam Chapman for company. But then all of a sudden, they dropped off. That allowed Michael Hammond to weigh into it. Interesting. We'll try and pick that apart a little bit later on.
It's a great commitment track, this one. You got to really commit to the all the corners and apexes, and it's amazing how much time you can gain and or lose over the top of the hill in these slower corners.
For sure. Gotcha. Okay. Upon second look at that message and then reading the comments names, I've got what you were saying. Thank you. Very nice. Bit hard, ladies and gentlemen. Forgive me. I'm trying to talk to the director, but I can't do that in an off-air capacity while we're on air, so apologies for that. through we go. Into the commentary box, actually, at this point in time, is Liam Banks. And I would assume that means he might have just parked up for the night, Adam, which is an early departure for the great man. Hello, Liam. Good evening to you. Would be nice to see you a little bit later on in the evening, but you've taken an early shower.
Yeah, I mean, later in the evening was my plan, but yeah, victim of an unsafe rejoin, and it was annoying because it was at the tight hairpin. You come and start at the top of the hill, and then there's an awkward white left, and that left-hander, it's really off camber, and there's a dip on the apex. So if you don't hit the apex, there's just no way you can really go around the outside without slowing down so much that I felt like even if I did that, he would have just come onto the track and hit me. So I saw him coming, I was like, I don't think I can do anything about this, just got to take the corner and hope that he breaks. But unlucky, and then just went hell for leather after that and lost it by myself, and had a sympathy brownie and came in to join the comms box early and give you a bit of company.
A sympathy brownie, okay, copy. Braden
No,
Sagassa,
normal brownie,
Alan.
it's a regular brownie, there's no extra ingredients in it. It was just a sad Liam eating the brownie, that's why it was a sympathy brownie.
Copy. No, I was going to say, if it was the other, you wouldn't be the first person to mention that reference, or the word of reference there to me today, because I've been asking for advice on sleeping medication, but that's another story for off air. It is Adam Burhop. Geez, he's been in the wars the last couple of laps. He's been doing some whippersnipping and some grass cutting. And Michael Hammond there as well. Oh, have a look at this side by side. Sam Chapman in fourth place. Jordan Malcolm and Reece Gosner for company. They're also not too far away from being joined by Michael Hammond and Adam Burhop. They're trying to get back on the train with Sam Muir as well. There's Muir just ahead. And just ahead of them is Nick Fodiatis, who is on a fuel save strut, no doubt, but I don't think he can get 19 out of the tank. Braden Sagassa comes to pit lane now. He's going to weigh into this in a moment, Banksy, as well.
Yeah, and Gosner's just got past Malcolm. Not like the two of them were attacking Chapman, but Gosner definitely got past Malcolm there. I just wanted to go back a little earlier. There was a Hammond and Burhop who were alongside each other, and it looked an awful lot like Burhop got ran out of road. So I'd be interested to know whether there was a call to race control after that, or whether both competitors thought it was just good, safe racing.
And that's the most important part. If it's a racing incident, or the competitors are happy that it was just hard and fair racing and they've come unstuck in that manner, then, you know, no malice, no penalty required. It's nice that we can sort things out that way still. Graham Muir leads, Sam Chapman second, but look at the train that Chapman's got for company here. Sagassa, Gosner, Malcolm, Hammond and Burhop, top 7. So 6 of them in the fight here. There's no doubt about that. Sam Muir actually is being reeled in at this point by Chapman, by Sagassa, by Gosner. We're riding with Chapman, and you can see when we switch the camera around and have a look out the front of the car, the gap to Muir. They're chasing him. They're trying to go with him and track him down. But Muir's holding station at the moment. Can he stay there? Can he withstand the pressure when it arrives? When it mounts at Willow Springs? Banksy, since I've got you, mate, since we've got you a little bit earlier than planned, what are your impressions initially of this circuit on the iRacing platform?
It's a really difficult circuit. I must admit, my eyebrows were raised last weekend when we mentioned it being... Last week when we mentioned it being Willow Springs next round, and somebody said, oh, that's a horsepower track. I was like, no, it's not. You spend...
Oh, Sagassa! Contact with Gosner, and here comes Malcolm up the outside. They're 3 wide. Sagassa's going to try and go the long way around and hold on, but he's going to lose out here, I fear. Gosner's jamming it down the inside. Brilliant side-by-side hustle, bustle. Elbows out racing from those 2 men, and look who's lurking in the shadows. It's Michael Hammond. So 2 by 2 we go. Good stuff. Oh, contact. Here comes Hammond down the inside. Hammond to 6th. 5th now. Oh, contact. They're both gone. Gosner and Hammond have come to blows.
And that was the corner. That's the corner. There's only really one line through that corner. I was very impressed a couple of laps ago. Chapman and Sagassa managed to go through it 2 wide. But there really isn't one line. I can understand why Hammond felt like he could come across, because it was very optimistic to go down the inside there at the best of times.
Oh, jeez.
Always got away with that one.
Didn't like the rejoin there from Hammond.
Yes, it'll be very interesting getting to see what the stewards think of that, because there was definitely a nose on the inside. And it was going into really a one-line corner. But again...
3 laps to go.
You know, if you're that Merc, you're thinking he knows I'm alongside, and it was so early the turn in as well. Yeah, I'm interested to know what they make of that. Really hard to judge.
Jeez. Oh, jeez Louise, that was, nah. Jordan Malcolm, the innocent bystander in all of that. He was lucky that he was in front of it and didn't get taken out on the way through. Hammond has rejoined in 11th. Joe Baldwin up 10 spots into 10th place now because of that incident. Hammond has rejoined in 11th.
Nick
Gosner
Wood,
14th.
3rd place, up 11.
Yeah, and
where's he been?
He's somewhat flying under the radar, hasn't he?
In the Beamer as well. Look out.
Yep. So 3 different manufacturers about to get on the podium here if Nick Wood can hold on. Braden Sagassa charging hard on the way home. Greg Favell's giving him a hurry up. Gap back to Green, Malcolm Burhop, then Juzzy B, and then Joe Baldwin. So
Sounds like
there's been a lot of garbage unfold here in the last couple of laps. The incident for Gosner and Hammond, obviously the main talking point. Fodiatis got himself out of the train and pitted and cleansed the field. Jackson had a spin. They're all sitting outside the top 10 at the moment. And then down the order, obviously you've got Visma a lap down, which wasn't in the script. Zamora and McLaughlin in pit lane still and out of business. Remember, 75% here, you've got to get to 15 laps to be classified. So Visma's okay, no one else is. Jared Knight out of the race. There's one contender that you would normally count as a genuine threat. So yeah, it's worked into the favour of, through incidents and through retirements, it's worked out beautifully for the two Sams, Muir and Chapman 1 and 2. That's the battle on your screen now. That's the lead. That's the fight for the race. Then Nick Woods 5 seconds down the road. That is somewhat of a surprise. Nick's got up 11 places there and done it very quietly, got about his business very peacefully, flying under the radar. Greg Favell's giving Braden Sagassa a hurry up, so the battle for 4th is alive and well. So Russ Green and Jordan Malcolm, so Jordan's obviously had a moment there too.
It's going to be white flag next time by, and it sounds like you got a couple of options here for your Commentator's Choice Award here tonight, Zach.
Yeah, you're right, actually. I'm glad you reminded me of that, actually. It's been a fortnight.
He's travelling down the inside.
Oh, see?
Got him! Muir on the outside will keep the boot into it and hold it on the exit. He had it momentarily, Chapman. White flag in the air. 1 to go at Willow Springs. To turn 1 we go. Hammond in 10th place, having got back past Joe Baldwin. Now Juzzy B. On the outside, Hammond's looking to account for him as well. Whoa, off goes Hammond. Rejoins. He won't be happy. He'll be frustrated, Michael Hammond. So too will Adam Burhop. So too. Oh, they've come together. Oh, no. Jeez. Dale Sharp.
Oh, he's beached
up
through.
On the wall. And going nowhere. Brings his hard run undone in the Bimmer. Sorry, Dale, you're not getting down off there, mate.
We'll have another look.
Jordan Malcolm gets the penalty for the contact with Braden Sagassa.
But I think that might have been Dale might have just trying to pop out there, and Mikey was in the spot. I think, but we'll have another look at that after the race.
A couple of off-track moments for Adam Burhop have cost him. Jordan Malcolm off the track again. Jordan Malcolm off the track again. So 3 or 4 big guns have come undone tonight, and now here's the fight for the win. Sam's 1 and 2. Chapman throws it away. Sam Muir wins at Willow Springs. Merc on top from Porsche, and Nick Wood finally gets back on a GT4 podium. That was mental. Oh, more contact this time. Hammond's gone again. Juzzy B this time.
Oh, he's gone to Narnia.
Hammond's out of it, and that will be frustrating for him. Oh, boy. You wouldn't fair dinkum believe the drama we've seen here in the last couple of minutes. Good luck trying to make sense of all of that, ladies and gentlemen. But the two Sams have come home 1 and 2. Nick Wood 3rd, Braden Sagassa, Greg Favell, Russ Green, Adam Burhop, Joe Baldwin up 12 spots. And then Nick Fodiatis in 9th in the end, despite how it started. Look how it finished for Nick. And Reese Gosner got back to finish 10th with the fastest lap of the race, 1:18.654. Jordan Malcolm 11th, Jake Jackson, Gary Cousins, Juzzy B. Allendorse made up the top 15. That was the contact. Bang. Dale Sharp. How unlucky.
I think he was just trying to pick the gap there, and it just wasn't quite open.
Oh.
Did get Mostert.
Boy. Yep. And, wow, that's, yep. Unlucky for Dale Sharp. No doubt about that. I mean, he still gets classified, provided that he didn't park up out of the server before the race checkered flag was thrown. Anthony Visma comes home a lap down. Michael Hammond 23rd, Dale Sharp 24th. Visma gets 22nd because he actually crossed the line and took the checkered flag. We need to confirm and clarify that for you, ladies and gentlemen. Oh boy, geez. Unbelievable. We've seen some good racing in GT4 in the past, but I can't recall as much drama as that.
So with Dale Sharp and Mikey Hammond and even Jordan Malcolm, for example, in the last lap, they all have an incident. Nick's found himself in the top 10 after his debacle in the first lap.
Well, that's right. That's exactly right. It is insanity. It's madness. You wouldn't fair dinkum believe it. Muir Chapman, and that's Mercedes Porsche, then the BMW of Nick Wood, and we got 4 manufacturers home in the top 10, with the Aston of Joe Baldwin coming home in 8th. And I think when you look at it, Nick Wood and Joe Baldwin, it's hard to split the honours there. I know I've got to do it in some way, shape or form. Actually, can we get another look at Joe Baldwin's car? Because I've barely seen Trucker tonight. I have not seen him out there because he flew just beautifully under the radar, much like a couple of others in that race. Bailey Ladders, that's right, and a nice metallic black. Beautiful. Nick Fodiatis joins us for a chat here.
It's the stealth livery of the team.
Oh, well, that's exactly right. Actually, there's another story. I think you've got to, as much as I love Trucker, I think you've got to give it to Nick Wood. Because to get a BMW on the podium, on the outright podium, and go up 11 spots, stay out of trouble, and capitalise on the mistakes of those around you, and knowing it's a fully, Mercedes Porsche dominated championship at the moment, I think Nick Wood needs to take the the commentator's choice award tonight.
So we're calling it?
Yep, Nick Wood, well done. Well done. All right, let's talk to some drivers here and try and make sense of all of that. My goodness gracious me. Adam Burhop's here, which is great because I need to have a chat to him in just a moment. Joe Baldwin's here. We'll have a chat to him too. And so too the race winner, Sam Muir, and so too Nick Fodiatis. And I'm going to start with Nick, actually, and work my way around from there. Nick, good evening to you. Welcome. It was a case of monkey see, monkey do when you went for an off-track excursion at the last corner. You said to me earlier in the day that your car was always going to be in the thick of the action, and it was, just not for the right reasons at the start. However, because there were so many incidents taking place, so many drivers coming unstuck, somehow, despite how it started, you found yourself back in the top 10 at the end of the day, mate. Not a bad recovery.
Don't watch this. Why, Adam, get this off the screen. Thank you, Zach. Yeah, look, the Bailey Ladders Porsche was actually kind of very comfortable around here, almost too comfortable. So I just don't have the speed of those top 10 guys. They're just ridiculously fast. So, yeah, you can see they got caught one high, one wide into grey, and then off she went. So it was a recovery drive from that point on.
Indeed it was, but a nice recovery drive too, mate. I mean, you went as far as you could with the fuel window. You came in, splashed and dashed, and then still got it home, and did so relatively comfortably in the end. I mean, think about some late race incidents there for Reece Gosner, Jordan Malcolm, your teammate Gary Cousins, and also Michael Hammond, and all of a sudden the seas parted just beautifully for you.
Well, that's it. My goal initially, because where I was qualified, was just to sit in the top 10, somewhere on the back or in the top 10 and save some fuel, try and get an extra lap on everybody. Didn't have that opportunity, so I had to go flat out for the get-go with the damaged car. And yeah, I learnt my lesson on the last turn of lap 1, and it looks like to me that everybody started getting tired or mucking up.
Indeed, they did. But you kept a cool head about it, mate. You went about your business as best you could. I mean, this is a great racetrack. It's always great when we go to a circuit that's an unknown. We haven't been there before. Geez, it threw up plenty of action, and we knew it would because it was a distinctly different circuit to some of the others that we've visited. Wide, open, flowing. fast but technical in the middle sector, plenty of overtaking opportunities, but also, as you found out, no small margin for error as well.
Yeah, and it's in the desert, so there's really no landmarks to see anything. There's no brake markers, there's no track out points, no exit curbs, nothing. So you've got to rely on muscle memory, so to speak, and whatever markers you can make out in the desert. So, yeah, like I said, made a mistake on lap 1, and then that was it. Just head down from there.
We're into the second half of the season now, mate. Where are the goalposts at the moment? What's the target from here?
Top 10s, man. I don't have the speed to compete with the guys at the front, so top 10s, top 5s if I can get them. It's the biggest thing is try not to qualify in the middle of the pack or worse, as what happened last week. So, yeah, top half is the idea.
I was going to say, we're looking at the size of the field here, mate. Still 31 deep for the start tonight. GT4, the popularity here very much, keeping the numbers steady for the club at the moment. Some of the other categories would love the turnout that GT4 continues to get on a Monday night.
Well, that's it. I think GT4 is a good precursor to the GT3 because GT3 seems to be stupidly popular. And we're all in the one server. I think that's another element that makes it fun. So, I say keep the GT4 as it is. If we get to splits, I think it's going to lose a bit of its shine.
Yep, absolutely. Next stop, of course, Virginia International. It threw up a cracker of a race in the Porsches a few weeks ago. I don't see any reason why it'll be any different next week.
Nah, it should be a good one. I like that place. Aragon, done some testing there, so it should be good. Suzuka should be good. And Magny-Cours, well, oh well.
And that'll be 45 minutes worth of oh well as well.
Oh man, really?
Yeah, bad luck. You play the cards you dealt, unfortunately, in this game, Nick, as you know. In saying all of that, though, nice to see you in the thick of the action tonight, mate. I mean, as we say, we saw you climb up through the ladder and even be at the pointy end of town at one point there, waiting for the pit stops to play out and the field to cleanse. Nice recovery considering you were down in 32nd or 31st, I should say, at the end of the opening lap. So well done on that. Hopefully, mistake-free run next week, and you can bring it home in the top 5.
Yeah, hopefully. I tell you what, it's summertime here in Brizzy, isn't it?
Almost.
I'm dripping with sweat. But anyway,
spring, summer, Stone Age. You know how it works. Good on you, mate.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Catches.
There he is, Nick Fodiard. It's great to have him in on a Monday night. We are still about, what are we? About 17 minutes away from the start of GT3, ladies and gentlemen. So let me rip around the room here. Sam Muir, Mercedes on top. But by G, you had to work hard for that one, mate. Well done.
Yeah, cheers, Zach. Certainly did. Had Jordan and Reese keeping me honest before the stop. And then, poor Jordan, you just can't take a trick this season. Came out in the lead, did a great undercut, and then got tangled up, I think, with the lap car. So, a bit unfortunate for him. And then had a great battle at the end there with Sam. Going too wide through that final corner. that was pretty hairy, but we ended up making it through, and it was a good battle.
Indeed, a terrific battle. I was going to say, you two controlled the race somewhat beautifully at the top end of town. I mean, as you say, Jordan Malcolm performed the undercut. Adam Burhop was in there at one point, Reese Gosner as well. We mentioned Michael Hammond. At one point there, the train was 9 deep at the top end of town, but you were the constant. You were the mainstay at the top end of the tree. So you controlled that race pretty well in the opening stint.
I was just trying to keep it on the track. That was my first ever race around here, and it's a very difficult track, as Nick was saying. There's just no brake markers, and it's just so punishing. Once you do make a mistake, you're off in the dirt, and good luck getting back. So it was just eyes forward and trying to keep it on the track, and we're able to do that, thankfully.
I was going to say, what were your impressions of the circuit? But considering that you won the bloody thing, that seems like a little bit of a redundant question to ask, because how can you not like a circuit that you've notched up a W on?
Yeah, true. I didn't think that I would enjoy it as much as I did. I think it would be fun in probably nothing faster than a GT4. Toyota. The 86s, a Mazda around here would be pretty fun, but I don't know how it would be in something like a GT3 or anything like that. But
you should try it. You should try it in an open wheeler. It's hectic.
Yeah, an open wheeler too. Yeah, that would be. Yeah, I'll pass.
Oh, I love it. Hey, gentlemen, very nicely done tonight. The Merc and Porsche battle, Sam, in this championship at the moment, it's really captivating our imagination. But there's the odd Bimmer and Aston that's throwing their hat into the ring as well.
Yeah, I think it was the Astons last week, and yeah, those Porsches have been super quick all season. The way that the bob works at the moment, I think the Mercs well and truly got it covered in the corners, in the slow stuff, but yeah, the Porsche with its acceleration down the straights, it's once they get in front, it can be pretty hard to get back in front of them. So yeah, just got to keep qualifying as well as we are, and yeah, hopefully just hold on for a few more podiums, or another win would be nice, but yeah, we'll see how we go.
Indeed we will. What are your thoughts on Virginia? That's the next stop.
Yeah, looking forward to it. Obviously did it in the Porsche Cups, as you said, a couple of weeks ago. That was my first ever race around there. Didn't really enjoy the combo, but I think it will be a lot better in the GT4s. So yeah, looking forward to cutting a few more laps around there and hopefully getting a bit quicker.
Certainly heats the championship fight up here in Orbic, Australia, GT4. There's no doubt about that. But well done to you, because you'll be staying at the top end of the summit for another week, mate. So go well. 4 rounds to go. Let's see if you can get the job done.
Yeah, fingers crossed. Cheers, Zach.
All right, let's go from first to second, from one Sam to another, but from a Mercedes to a Porsche in this particular instance, and a constant in the and a mainstay, a regular in our post-race shows. Sam Chapman, good evening to you. Well done. That was a strong hustle and bustle and tussle from you tonight. Up 2 spots on where you started and pushed Sam Muir right to the very end. He wouldn't have wanted to slip. He wouldn't have wanted to stutter, because you were right there to ready and waiting to make him pay.
Yeah, I was. I just couldn't quite execute an overtake towards the end. So, it was great racing with him. We had a good time out there, and I was surprised I was able sort of to make it up to his back. I guess there's a bit of stuff going on ahead, but a little bit of fuel saving probably helped in that first stint.
Indeed, mate. And that first stint was frantic as well. It had Porsche vibes, didn't it? Because the train, one after the other, was happy to follow the leader. No one really wanted to engage in battle too much, or terribly much, in that opening stint, knowing full well that this race, if it was going to stay as tightly bunched as that, was going to be decided right at the very end.
Well, yeah, except for the yellow Mercedes in front of me, that decided to do a bit of rally driving every now and then, which slowed things down a little bit. Oh, there we go. Other than that, it was a little bit lighter stint. We get a bit, people get a bit jumpy at times, but I was quite happy just sitting at the back of that pack, as long as there was no one too close behind me until that pit stop sequence.
All right, mate, and the championship, how's it faring for you at the moment? Can you still factor in the contenders and podium equations here?
Yeah, I think so. Sam's going to be, other Sham is going to be difficult to get to, because he's had a very, very consistent season so far, and now he's got this win as well. So it'll be tough to catch him, but I think we're still in the equation. Other than that drop round, it's not been too bad throughout the season.
Very nicely done. Hey, before I let you go, we've got a couple of big events coming up later in the week. Obviously, production cars and Porsches, and we're looking forward to that. But I mean, it's nice to have, as I said to Nick Fodiatis, it's nice to have regular bumper turnouts for this GT4 field, and you must be delighted with your progress here, that you're playing a part in the top end of the tree on a regular basis, up against some fairly stiff competition, mate.
Yeah, absolutely. It's great playing up with these guys, because the field's so tight up there too. So it's usually not just 2 of us fighting. Usually it's a fair few more. Coming out to these big fields is great, and it always makes for a good broadcast afterwards as well.
Exactly right. Go and enjoy the replay when you get a chance to watch it, mate. In the meantime, good luck with the rest of the night, and we'll check in with you again soon.
Yeah, cheers, Zach.
All right, just time's getting the better of me here, so I needed to get Sam over and out so that we can jump on to Paul Wood, Joe Baldwin, Braden Sagassa, and Adam Burhop. I'm actually going to jump back to the top and work my way down here, guys. Adam Burhop, is it just me, or did you have a little bit of a problem finding the white lines tonight and staying within track limits?
Yeah, maybe just a little bit, but when you're looking through people to try and find the line at a very late apex, it's like, oh well, keep it planted, see what happens. So I was able to keep it in a straight line up until I cooked the front tyres. So once you're up in the grey, it's very hard to get back, and yeah, just dropped a whole heap of space time at the end there. But yeah, fought back to, I think, 7th, which wasn't too bad.
Yep.
So can't complain about that.
No, not at all. 7th was your result, despite the various off-track excursions and the associated grass clipping. But in saying all of that, mate, the Merc looked good. It sounded good. It seemed to go well. It seemed to have plenty of great pace. What were your impressions of the Willow Spring circuit?
When I first got it, I was thinking, oh, this is going to be a bit of a snooze fest. It's a one-line track. It's very much follow the leader. There's not massive braking points, so it's like, it's going to be lick it and send it to get through. But it actually turned out to be a really good race, so I'm actually quite surprised. But it turned out great.
It certainly did. There's no doubt about that. And 7th, a fair reflection of how the night played out for you. And nice to see you back here on a regular basis as well, mate. The Porsches and the Mercs, it's producing a very competitive fight at the moment, isn't it, between those two manufacturers?
100%, but I think the BOP's got it around the wrong way. Usually the Porsche's nice and nimble through the corners and the Merc's fastest down the straight, but Bop's got it the other way around, so we're a little bit confusing. And the Porsches, once they're out ahead, it's really hard to catch them. So this round they were actually burning up their rear tyres a little bit and swirling around, where I could pretty much keep it planted in the Merc and drive around the outside in a couple of places. So, which is a bit of a surprise, but yeah, absolutely great battle, and the Astons are in there too. So BMW just need to catch up a little bit, and we'll have an awesome fight.
I take it you're preparing for GT3 as we speak to you?
100%, trying to do a quality lap while speaking to you, so we'll see how that goes.
Yeah, not very well, probably, because we are a fair distraction at the best of times, mate. But well done. Thanks for stopping on by to have a chat to us. Are you going to be up for Virginia next Monday night?
Yeah, I'll try and get into the rest of the season, get on a regular basis, and yeah, all about building setups and stuff for next season. We'll see what happens.
Very nicely done, mate. Great to catch up with you as per usual. Go well.
Cheers, lad. Thank you.
And there's a bit more of that grass clipping that we were talking about a short while ago. And of course, this being week 6, by the end of next week, drop rounds will factor into the equation when we have a look at championship standings and the like too, ladies and gentlemen. So we are heading towards that pressure cooker end of the season, and all the scenarios that are associated with it, and getting an idea of who the pretenders and contenders are. Joe Baldwin, a great result for you tonight. Best place to the Astons, up 12 spots into 8th place there, mate. Well done.
Yeah, thanks. It's was just a key of staying out of trouble tonight, keeping it on the black stuff and letting people drop off. I had the slowest lap time in the top 15, so it just goes to show if you can keep it on a track like this, you'll come out with a result. So bit of shenanigans there the last couple of laps for the tail end of the 10, which thankfully I managed to avoid it all. So yeah, it's unexpected result, and yeah, so the early ladders stealth Aston had a good result, which is nice.
Apologies to Braden Sagassa, he's just left the room. I think he'll be getting ready for GT3, so I'll hopefully catch up with him a little bit later on, because at the end of the day, he did jump up 8 spots and move up into 4th place. But you were the biggest mover of the night, Trucker, up 12, so that was impressive. But again, it pays to stay out of trouble, keep your nose clean and avoid incidents. So often you don't manage to do that through reasons beyond your control. So it's a nice change of pace tonight. But again, new circuits, throw the cat amongst the pigeons, and some of our regular genuine threats find a way to come unstuck.
Yeah, absolutely. It's I think I only had one incident point the whole race as well, and that was running wide on lap 1. I think I picked it up. So but yeah, unfortunately, I think Mikey Hammond, he had great pace tonight, but unfortunately just got involved in a couple of tangles there late in the race. So I don't know how that's going to hurt him, what sort of penalties you'll get out of that. But I was just lucky enough to miss that. And yeah, unlucky for Mikey, with what happened there a couple of times. But yeah, I don't know. I actually short fueled. I was probably about 2 litres shy of being able to go hard after the pit stop. I realised I was about 2 litres short to make it to the end, and I saved enough fuel that as I crossed the line, the car sputtered just after the start-finish line. So it's about as close you can cut it on fuel with making it to the finish.
Indeed it is, and how lucky you were. That being said, must be nice to be doing something with the Aston when the main, percentage of the field is running either a Porsche or a Merc.
Yeah, I think this place almost suits the Aston because it's not stop-start. Like it's all about momentum, and it flows really well through the high-speed corners. Towards the end of the race, it was a little bit understeery, like the big triple right onto the main straight. Trying to make sure I hit that apex and didn't cop an off track on the inside. Trying to make sure I didn't run wide on the outside of it. I think the right front tyre was getting hurt a little bit, but this track's hard on left rears generally, so. But I managed to hold on to that one. I think I just got the right front hot, trying to save fuel and being on the nose and that sort of thing. But we got to the end safe, and I'm certainly happy with the result anyway. I don't know how well it'll go at VIR next week. I don't think it's a track that's going to suit the Aston. The back straight's going to be about the only place where it's going to stretch its legs. But other than that, I think it's going to be hard work at VIR with the Aston Martin.
We're certainly going to find out one way or another, mate. Thanks for that. We'll look forward to catching up with you on Thursday.
Thank you, mate.
Liam Banks standing by to call GT3 with me in the meantime. Let's quickly go to Paul Wood, and by the way, we will have GT3 for you in a matter of minutes, ladies and gentlemen, so stick around for that. There's the championship standings with thanks to Orbic. 315 for Sam Muir, 263 for Greg Favell, 248 Sam Chapman, 223 Jared Knight, that DNF hurts him, 220 for Gary Cousins, 188 for Nick Fodiatis, 185 for Jordan Malcolm. Oh, geez, the 7/8 hurts him there. 160 for Nick Wood, he's jumped up a couple. 160 also for Michael Hammond, despite the shocker tonight. And Oliver Patterson wasn't here tonight and stays on 157. So it's now 100 and what's that? Almost 158 points covering the top 10. GT4, of course, back next week for you on the platforms of the Gentleman Sim Racing Club. In the meantime, Paul Wood, welcome into you. Not the easiest night at the office, down 6 on where you started. Started 11th, came home 7/8. It wasn't without incident and drama, though.
No, it was definitely not my night tonight, but overall, coming into the race, I was feeling quite confident, and I think I had the pace to be into the top 10, well and truly, but just unfortunate incidents. I copped the one early on where I got the tap went off track. It was, I copped damage, and it was just chewing the tyres, unfortunately, and I think I ran wide over the pit exit at one point, and it must have turned my tyres back on because I come in for the pit and I'm sitting there ready revving the car to go, and then it's still sitting there, and decided to change all 4 tyres. So that kind of blew my race with that one there. But after that, I just wanted to keep it back on the track, pushing a little bit too hard. That's when I had my big off on the last corner. But overall, not a night that went to plan, but what can you do? We'll keep going. I think this season at the moment is just I'll take it as another warm-up season, and we'll come back next season, I think, and hopefully have a better run, because so far I've just about ticked off every round except one to bad results. So what do you do?
Yeah, well, that's exactly right. Sometimes, and you've had your run of luck in the past, and good and bad, Woodsy, as you know. Sometimes you just can't catch a break. Unfortunately, this seems to be one of those seasons for you, buddy. But we can only hope you turn it around next week, starting with round 7 of the championship. Virginia, your thoughts?
It should be fun. As Joe was saying, how the Aston will go there, I really don't know. It's one thing I'm struggling with is to get that real bite on the turning, which is, for my style of driving, I struggle with. But as you said, tonight the car seemed to flow really well. I'm getting the back end feeling really good. So we'll see how we go. I enjoy the track, so I'll see if we can get some good results.
All right, mate, very nicely done. We're short for time here, so we'll let you go, and we'll turn our attention to GT3. Good luck for the rest of the night and the rest of the week, mate. Thanks for stopping by.
No worries. Thanks, guys.
All right, this is Monday Night Motorsport on the platforms of the Gentleman Sim Racing Club. It's nice to have you along for the ride. It's all made possible with thanks to the great people that continue to support the Gentleman Sim Racing Club. They include Waste Options and Orbic Australia, of course, the great people at Flash Graphics, Fisher Door Lawyers, Astute Finance, and also Login Systems and Blackout Electrical Solutions. Liam Banks is here alongside me, ready for GT3, and it's the AM split this week, mate. Looking forward to this, obviously, for our audience at home. The results of the GT3 Pro split will come your way at the end of the broadcast, but GT3 AM, some good fields here, some good racing from what we've seen of them so far this season as well.
Yeah, absolutely. An absolutely bumper field in the first sprint race last week, which we had live on Monday night GSRC Motorsport. I think there was over 30 cars, which was absolutely insane, and the racing was fantastic. I know in the Discord afterwards there was some comments as to the quality of the racing, but certainly we didn't see anything on the broadcast that looked too despicable. So really interesting to see how they go around this track, and there they are on your screens right now in qualifying.
And the final stages thereof as well. Only 20 seconds left in the session, so they'll get a chance to complete this lap, and they'll be lining up on the grid. The Circuit de Barcelona, Catalunya. The historic, the old school Grand Prix layout is what we're playing on tonight for you, ladies and gentlemen. Distinctly different track to what we were just on. This one looks a little bit more like a race track rather than just a little bit of road with some dirt around it. And we're looking forward to the next hour here. Oh, geez, that's Mark Foster's last qualifying lap done and dusted. We've got a field of 28 lining up here, and quite a few of them are sitting in pit lane at the moment as the checkered flag waves on qualifying. We will have a look at the championship standings at this point in time and let you know what's been going on there throughout the course of the opening half of the term. 5 down, 5 to go. Good fight at the top end of town. 21 points covers the top three. Adam Holland on 213, 196 for Dean Eldridge and 192 for Sean Rees. Dale Sharp, who was unlucky in GT4 tonight, it's fair to say. 159 plays Stephen Gallacher, 149, and William Yarwood, 145. 139 for James Francone. And Kevin Coleman on 134, 124 for Mark Foster, and Daniel Correa-Sarr in the Lambo on 121 points, just ahead of Greg Heaney and Matt Schmidtke, making up the top 12. So, what's that? 12 cars covered by 97 points. Not too bad at all. This is a 4.727 kilometre circuit. It is one that's been open since very early 90s, 1990. I think the first time we saw Formula One there was at the beginning of the 1991 season, home to the Spanish Formula One Grand Prix to this day. And also the Grand Prix de Catalunya in MotoGP. One of the great all-time Grand Prix venues anywhere in the world, and it produces some crackerjack racing. We hope for another belter here tonight. And thankfully, just like Formula One, that stupid bloody right, left, right chicane section at the end of the lap is not featuring in tonight's proceedings. There it is. 19 degrees the ambient temperature at the moment. We're at quarter to 10 in the morning server time. That'll, of course, push forward in a few moments' time when we switch from quali to race server. 21 on track, partly cloudy conditions. It is a very cool, very pleasant Spanish summer day, no doubt about that.
But a very windy day as well. Look at that 30 kilometre an hour wind. Don't be surprised if we see a few drivers get caught out with that and go for a little trip over the gravel.
Now, just a little bit of an update for you too, ladies and gentlemen. Reneg to mention that we do have something of the around the grounds variety for you tonight, ladies and gentlemen. It is with regards to basketball. Of course, a lot of focus has been on the football and the netball World Cups recently. The basketball World Cup's only just around the corner. The Boomers are playing a warm-up tournament in Victoria at the moment at Rod Laver Arena, and currently lead Venezuela comfortably at half-time. So I'll keep you across that as the night goes on. But yes, basketball, you can watch it on 9Gem on the Wide World of Sports. And of course, they will continue on Wednesday against Brazil and Thursday against South Sudan. And the Brazil game has been moved forward to 5:30, so that they're not competing, not going up against the Matildas. Why would you want to? Because everyone's going to be watching that game on Wednesday night as the Aussies play England for a spot in the World Cup final. GSRC.merch.myshopify.com for all your GSRC merchandise needs. And also, of course, you can sign up to the club, you can renew your membership, you can do all sorts of great things at merch.tgsrci.com or gsrcmerch.myshopify.com. Same link, same website, or both websites take you to the same place, I should say. We're ready to rock and roll here. Matt Carrick on the front row with Alex Schmidt alongside him. Porsches lock out the first 3 rows. Neil Gladwin, Kelvin Little, Braden O'Loughlin, and also Sean Benici. And then we go back to Kevin Coleman and Daniel Correa-Sarr, Mark Foster and Adam Holland making up the top 10. We finally got some other manufacturers a look in there with Mercedes, Lambo and McLaren. And Adam Holland, the 7th, the Porsches in the top 10. Outside that, Aidan Schultz is 11th alongside Tim Fuge, Matt Whitaker and Dale Sharp, the first of the Bimmers in 14th, the first of the Ferraris of Stephen Gallacher 15th, and the first of the Fords, Luke Mackay, I should say, in 16th. James Francone and Will Yarwood from the 9th row, Adam Bryant and Brian Bullock from the 10th row. Then we go back to Greg Heaney, Ryan Wooden, Tristan Koch, Robert Colbreth, Sean Rees, Tim Watson, Aaron Bryan, Greg Padgett, and Michael Schroeder. We're ready to go. Have you got a tip here for me, Banksy?
Oh, don't let us know. No, it's quite a technical track. I expect the Porsches, as you see evidence is from qualifying, they will be the pick of the bunch around here because you need a bit of everything. And being the newest car, they probably are the best at everything on a broad scale. Wouldn't like to pick who's going to be winner because again, it's surprisingly tight with these big cars around it. There's quite a few corners where people are going to go side by side, have incidents. And it is the amateur split, so we don't have a Denji or somebody running away with it to be the obvious favourite. But here they go.
Here we go.
Down the start finish straight, led away by Matt Carrick.
They didn't muck around there. They came onto the main straight and pretty much full tilt. You see Bring It Go Racing. Monday Night Motorsport Waste Options GT3 AM, and Matt Carrick leads the field to turn 1. Can they scramble through here without incident in the first corner? Let's wait and see. So far, so good. The first 2 dozen have made their way to turn 1 unscathed. In round turn 2, then 3, the run to 4. We're watching Kelvin Little on screen there in 3rd place. He got by Neil Gladwin on the run to turn 1. The rest of the top 5 remain where they started. Aidan Schultz, the big mover on the opening lap. There's Matt Whitaker being muscled out as well. Whitaker trying to get down on the inside. Yes, he has. Of Mark Foster. Daniel Correa-Sarr's dropped 3 spots. Aidan Schultz up 3 spots. Matt Whitaker up for the 8th and 9th respectively on the opening lap.
Yeah, really good start there from Whitaker and Schultz. I'm surprised at and Smith was surprised. That's O'Loughlin. He's off on the inside of that corner. Don't know if there was contact or if he did it by himself. A variety of lines there, so I think Jiver's not quite getting their eye in at that fast right-hander that's just about full throttle in an F1 car, but it's certainly not full throttle in any other car. One of those corners that actually is a real feature of the circuit for everything other than F1, which is what most people see go around the circuit. And look at this long sweeping left-hander. If you can hang it on around the outside, you get the inside into this basically double right-hander here, and you pretty much guarantee yourself the position to watch for that to be one of the main overtaking spots. But it's a very, very brave one, and one that's not going to be used later in the race once the marbles start to form on that outside line. And don't hit that curb, otherwise you're going to do that. That is Matt Whitaker into the wall, and that is a unhealthy looking Porsche.
So Matt Whitaker gives himself an invoice from the outset. Oh dear. Matt Carrick leads the field to 1 at the start of the second lap here. 1 minute 42.551 down on the inside. That's Mark Foster going up into 7th place, displacing Kevin Coleman. Daniel Correa-Sarr has got up into 9th, and Adam Holland is 10th. Dale Sharp in 11th in the Bimmer, up 3 spots already. Aidan Schultz up 5 spots on the opening lap. From 11th to 6th, Schultz is on a charge, and he's got a point to prove. Down the order, Braden O'Loughlin down 23 spots, Matt Whitaker down 16, and they've made a rod for their own back here for the rest of the night.
Yeah, we're about to see a couple of Italian Ferraris going hammer and tongs there. I believe that was Francone and Gallacher right next to each other, and here we see two teammates going side by side. I wonder if there'll be any sort of team orders behind Sharp there, so that's Fuge and Holland doing battle. And 3 of the 4 members of that team all within a 4-car battle. So you're definitely going to want the bragging rights, aren't you, if you're one of those three. Matt Carrick and Smith just breaking away at the front of the field as well. They got a second over Calvin Little, 1.7 ahead of Gladwin, and further 1.6 ahead of Benici. So they're going to want to, Little, Gladwin and Benici are going to want to arrest that pretty quickly, otherwise it's going to be a 2-horse race for the lead here tonight.
Can we just, Adam Lavis, update everybody on track and temperature conditions, please? Because the server has skipped over a few hours there. The cloud cover's come over. We're at 4 o'clock in the afternoon, 4:15. 21 degrees the ambient, 30 on track now, so significantly warmer on track bitumen conditions than what we saw, or temperatures, than what we saw in qualifying. So they'll have to have made some adjustments to account for that as well. 3:45 gone on the clock. Matt Carrick leads the field from Alex Schmidt, Kelvin Little, Neil Gladwin and Sean Benici. Porsches 1, 2, 3, 4 and 5, but Benici's under some pressure here from Schultz in the first of the Mercedes entries. And we're watching Adam Holland at the moment. He's got Dale Sharp just ahead of him, so too Tim Fuge, but behind him it's Stephen Gallacher, James Francone, Adam Bryant, Luke Mackay, William Yarwood and Greg Heaney. Car 114, Alex Schmidt, fastest lap of the race thus far. I'm at 1 minute 42.47, only betted by 1 minute 42.331 by Matt Carrick. So
Stephen Goucher here, currently leading Formula F with Ferrari Ford.
I like it. I can get around that.
He's got one little beamer in there, so the heating needs to get in front of the beamer, and then we've got another F in there. Got to be careful where we go with F at this time of the night. About 50 minutes before we can play a little bit more frivolously with that. 5 minutes gone here. Just having a look at the clock, about 1 minute 42 is the standing pace at the moment. So we're not going to quite get that 36 laps, which would be 3 laps every 5 minutes, and 3 times 12 is 36. So looking at a probably 34, 35 at most race tonight in terms of the laps completed. Just depends on pit lane transit time, and it is a long pit lane here, and they'll transit it twice.
Here we go, that's Adam Bryant trying to defend from Mackay. I think Mackay's going to get past him here. He's looking down the inside, but just not alongside that. Camera angle actually really deceiving, wasn't very close at all in the end there. That's Francone ahead of the two of them.
Not going to lie, that's one of my favourite car liveries tonight in this field, despite the distinct absence of yellow. The yellow at the black and just the colour and the Shell logo, it looks a treat. So
yeah, Matt's just at the fastest lap, but Schmitty was basically identical lap time. So down to the 3 decimal places before you could split him on that last lap.
Right. Yep, you've got to love that. Uh-oh. Off-track alert. Grass being kicked up. That was Tim Fuge.
No, you don't want to do that too many times. Very rare around here. You can see that the line for that corner really getting more consistent now that the drivers are starting to get that eye in. You'll see that throughout the race. They'll just get more and more consistent, and a bunch of the drivers towards the back of the field, their lap times will come towards the drivers at the front as they just all learn from the car ahead of them. It's one of the really cool features you see, particularly in the lower split racing, which with this kind of mimics in the amateur class. I dare say Matt Carrick and Smith would be in a higher split than those around them at the moment, already 2.5 seconds ahead after 5 laps, so that's half a second a lap faster than just about the rest of the field at the moment, and that's borne out by those lap times there, 1 minute 42.4 for Carrick versus a 143.0 for Little in third place, and Daniel Crayasar, one of the fastest on track actually, a 142.7, that's the fastest of the race for him, and second fastest on that lap, so look for him to move forward. And that's Sean Benici on the outside of Schultz, and Schultz just launching it really late in that right Porsche, almost mugged Benici there and gets the move done, and a bit of flashing from Benici. I'm not sure he enjoyed that move.
No. And very early in the race to be getting the elbows out. No doubt about that.
Well,
Carrick, Schmidt, Little, Gladwin and Schultz the top 5 at the moment, so Schultz is up 6 spots.
I gotta say, we're on lap 5, and the Am boys are doing a great job. Look at the track map; they're all still in a conga line. They're all still in a nice little group of nice little snake. So we haven't had any massive incidents yet. So fingers crossed, haven't cursed anybody, but we'll see how we go.
Definitely cleaner than the GT4s, as far as we can see so far. I'd be surprised if there was a single lap that didn't have an incident in the GT4s at Willow Spring. Very much recommend going back and watching that race if you've joined us purely for the GT3s. As here we see Brian Bullock a little bit further down the field. He's in 20th. He's just behind Michael Schroeder and Greg Heaney. But as you said, they're still very much part of that conga line. And if you can make one or two moves, you're going to be right behind the next car every single time, because there's barely a gap above 1.5 seconds from 20th all the way up to 3rd, basically. So you really can make the difference if your racecraft is strong in this Waste Options GT3 race.
Down the main straight again. And what we wait for now, Banksy, is to see who's doing what with regards to strategy. How many are going to run the tank dry, then top up, run the tank dry, and then splash and dash? How many are going to split it down the middle and do 3 20-minute stints? How many? Well, is anyone going to be... oh, no, that's Tim Watson. That's not the way you want to exit that corner. He got a little bit of assistance by the look of it as well.
Yeah, I think he did. I think it was a case of he got a little bit out of shape, had to put on the anchors a bit more in the car behind, just getting caught out.
Interesting too. That was Greg Paget facing the wrong way. Yeah, who's on the early stop and then the 2 long runs home? It doesn't look like anyone's going down that route at the moment. We are at the end of lap 6. We are at the end of the 10-minute mark. So yeah, strategy is going to be interesting here to see who wants to do what to try and give themselves a leg up with regards to track position. Yes, we more commonly associate that part of gamesmanship as far as GT racing is concerned with the pro boys, but the Am boys are getting crafty in that regard as well. 10 minutes gone. It's a 60-minute race tonight from the circuit to Barcelona, Catalunya in Spain.
Yeah, and there's a really good point you made about the strategy with the amateurs getting a bit craftier with it, because it's just a matter of knowledge and confidence, and it's a very good way to put yourself in a position that perhaps your pace doesn't warrant. If you can maintain the same pace whilst fuel saving, which is, oh, that's really ambitious, and that's not always out at all. Greg Heaney getting onto the curbs there.
There's more cars involved. It's a 4-car incident.
Schroeder,
Heaney's got away unscathed in regards to all of that. I mean, he won't, because he'll wear the wrap of race control, I would imagine. Sean Rees is in the grass. That bloke can't take a trick. Dead set. Here it was. Oh, the curb. So actually, no, Heaney did get away with it scot-free, but he won't get penalised. It wasn't his fault. It was the car that was bouncing the back into the. Yeah. Wow.
Yeah, overly ambitious move from the white and green Porsche there. And unlucky in the end to collect the car on the outside. Heaney, it was only a slight contact, very much rear to front. But that's all on him, isn't it? And he came off worse. It's just a shame that there was a couple of innocent bystanders that got caught up in that, because he just got a little bit over ambitious. And we're going to see that in the amateurs, right? They're not going to be quite as polished in the wheel to wheel as the pros. And I'll just go back to the point I was going to make. There's much more scope to be able to fuel safe without losing time in the AM split, because you're not at the ultimate pace. So if any of the drivers have tried it, they might actually find out that they can go the same pace while fuel saving that they can without fuel saving, because they're actually not. One time you gain a lot of time is on the brakes, right? So if you're not that good on the brakes, you might be able to actually lift, brake later and harder than you actually would have if you were just coming down from full throttle, because you weren't confident on the brakes, not confident enough to put all that weight on the front of the car, and then actually reach the same lap time. So it'll be interesting to see if any of the drivers have tried that and display those skills tonight, because it's definitely something that I think in amateur split you can gain more of an advantage almost, because you don't necessarily have the downside that comes with fuel saving of losing lap time, if that is where you are struggling for lap time to begin with.
Right on board with Mark Foster in the meantime, Banksy. No, good point. And it's interesting to see who's doing what in that regard. We'll get a bit more of an insight into that as the race goes on. Riding on board with Mark Foster, he's chasing at the moment Sean Benici. This is for 6th and 7th on the racetrack, and he is the first of the McLarens in the running order. In fact, he's the only McLaren in the field.
Yeah, it's a brave driver who picks the McLaren, although Denchi is certainly showing that it's not lacking for speed, even though it is out of favour in the balance of power at the moment. And that snake that Adam was talking about earlier, definitely it's seen a few shovels since we were talking about it, and it's in a few pieces. The first piece being the head, and that head is about 6.5 seconds away from the start of the body of the snake. Nice long body, and then the tail's been chopped up into 3 or 4 pieces. The big gaps between Mackay and Koch, 17th to 18th, that's 5.7 seconds, and then a few bigger gaps behind that. Basically everybody behind Koch being somebody that's had some sort of issue in the first few laps of this race.
There's Neil Gladwin minding his own business, sitting in 5th place at the moment. Hayden Schultz is just ahead of him. Schultz 1.7 down on Kelvin Little, and then the top 2 have bolted. The top 2 are covered by half a second. It's Carrick over Schmidt, but they have put 7 seconds on the chasing pack. No one, with the exception of Brian Bullock and Sean Rees, have opted to stop thus far. They kind of didn't have a choice after the incident. Bullock got back out there, but geez, I don't know how I feel about that for poor old Brian Bullock. He's got back out there on the racetrack, but he could have actually completed a full splash and dash there, and he only stayed in the lane for 4.47 seconds, whereas Rees was stationary for 10.08. So that does feel like a bit more of a stop and fuel for him. Michael Schroeder's parked up for the night. He's out of the race. This is what happened to Sean Rees. Watch. Yeah.
Gotta put your brakes on. You've gotta hold your brakes.
Watch the view of the racetrack just get swept out from under him.
And that's a really good example, actually, what you saw there. That's why we say hold your brakes. Sean Rees is seeing that Porsche on the inside, and he's thinking, you've got to hold your brakes. I'll be safe on the outside. There's no way it's going to cross the track. The driving the Porsche, and I'm going to take a guess here, he's thinking, I want to get off the track. Oh, look, I'm rolling backwards. If I just don't brake, I will roll off the track and get out of everybody's way. At first thought, it seems like the right thing to do, right? Let yourself roll off the track. But the cars that are seeing him and are going to come across him have already decided that he's on the inside. So there, when he's trying to get off the track, he ends up coming into Sean Rees's way, and Sean Rees collects him. Whereas if he stays on the brake, Sean Rees can get around him. When you're in a collision like that, you've got to trust the drivers around you to do the avoiding. You just stop, take your medicine, and then get back on track safely once you can. It's really easy for me to sit here and say that. It's much harder to do it when you're in the car. You're panicking, you're wondering where everybody is, you don't know where the cars are around you. You want to get out of everybody's way, you want to get your own race restarted, and depending on the type of person you are, there's a balance there between how much you're thinking about one versus the other. But whatever you're thinking, you should be thinking, brake, make myself predictable again. Because if you ever go to a kart track and go with absolute amateurs who don't know what they're doing, it's so hard to overtake them, even if you've got seconds on them, because they're not predictable. And so I mentioned that just to prove that being predictable is the most important thing you can do on a racetrack, and that's including when you're crashing, and being predictable means holding your brakes.
Indeed. We're holding your brakes has been an ongoing point of discussion in this club going back to, well, term 1 essentially. Term 2, term 3 of the very first year of GSRC competition and broadcast back during the pandemic.
Yeah, and I will say, obviously, the rebuttal to that, the only time you wouldn't hold your brakes is if you're literally already on the white line and going towards being off the track. If you're already on the edge of the track and you're rolling towards going off track, you wouldn't just let yourself go off track.
Off track, yep.
Like, common sense does apply, but not when you're...
Sorry, what? Common sense?
I know, it's rare, isn't it?
Yeah, no. Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
So
Not sure how I feel about that, actually.
So we've got Luke here in the only Ford doing the hard yards, but hopefully next week he'll reap some rewards because we'll be at the La Saf. And last time we went to the Saf in the GT3s at the start of the year we did the last Enduro of last year, and the old Ford, she was about 20 k's faster down the straight, so he might be looking forward to next week.
Yeah, we had the little Ford that could, if I remember in the commentary. Making overtakes left, right, and centre down the straight. And I'm going to take this relative lull in the action to take advantage of that to ask you a question, Zach. What
Yes.
got your heart pumping harder, watching the chaos of the GT4s or watching the penalty shootout for the Matildas on?
Look, I have to admit, I actually got to see 2 penalty shootouts last week because the England-Nigeria match that I was attending last Monday night while I wasn't here, it also went to penalties. But yes, there was something else about the Matildas that was just incredible. And we thought we had it won, then we had it lost, then we had it won again. Just the great roller coaster ride of a wave of emotions that only sport can do to you. And the whole country just went up in unison, didn't they, when that final one got slotted. Longest penalty shootout in World Cup history, Liam Banks, men or women. And it sets up a tantalising semi-final. That's a little bit of roller cross. Ryan Wooden sets up a tantalising semi-final on Wednesday night that you'll see live on the 7 Network around Australia from 7 p.m. Australian Eastern Standard Time. It is going to be incredible. We wish the Tillies all the best, no doubt about that. We hope it goes well. If they can get that job done at Spain or Sweden in a World Cup final on Sunday night, that's Tim Watson with a moment to forget.
He found that puddle that all the Formula 1 guys are having trouble with.
Yeah, exactly. But no, mate, I have to say, not much will get your heart racing more than that. I'm not what you'd call the biggest soccer fan in the world. And I know a lot of people here in Australia that aren't sport fans in general that are just getting around the Matildas at the moment. It's brilliant how they've united the country. I will say that I don't agree with Albo's and all the state government's plans for a public holiday. I think we're just going a little bit too far there because in public holidays, when they're not scheduled months and months or years in advance, or they're not a mainstay on the calendar, they just pop up for the sake of it. Inconvenience far too many people. So I don't know if I don't necessarily agree with that, but I do believe in celebrating it. Give them the keys to the city, give them a ticker tape parade, do whatever. But it is going to be one hell of a roller coaster the next couple of weeks, the next couple of days, I should say. If we get through Wednesday, every front page in the country, every news bulletin in the country will lead with the Matildas right through until Sunday night. So no, well done to them. The French, they can feel, a little bit dejected by that and a little bit hard done by. But at the end of the day, Mackenzie Arnold, I mean, forget the girls that actually slotted the penalties. Mackenzie Arnold went from being, the hero to the villain to the hero again in the space of about 15 minutes because she saved a couple in the original 5-shot shootout, then missed her own shot to win the game, and then had to save the same penalty twice. And then there was a straight miss, a clean miss from the French, and you shouldn't be missing penalties at the highest level of professional football. But then, I mean missing, like going to the left or right of the upright or smacking into the upright. If it's saved by the goalkeeper, so be it, but you shouldn't be outright missing them. But yeah, Mackenzie Arnold for mine was the man of the match. So if she can fire again against England, I think she's going to need to. It'll be terrific. I tell you what, though, just to put a full stop on the World Cup talk, because we've got pit stops about to unfold here as we're edging close to that window. In fact, we've got Graydon O'Loughlin in pit lane at the moment, so too one of the Ferraris, Ryan Wood, and so too Greg Heaney. They're all on pit road right now. Matt Whitaker's already been there. And we've had a few retirements as well that we need to make mention of. But yeah, for mine, when you look at... we're riding on board here with Alex Schmidt. Now, this is the battle for the lead. He's just sat there patiently, Schmitty. Sat there with Matt Carrick and let him drag him along. Tactical, strategic, smart play from Alex Schmidt, and they're on the limit at the moment, these two blokes. 1 minute 42, 198 is the fastest lap of the race from Matt Carrick. The atmosphere inside Suncorp last Monday night, boys, palpable. And you could just feel as though, maybe because it was England or maybe because we love an underdog story, I'm not sure, but you could just feel that the bulk, the main percentage of the crowd support was thrown right behind Nigeria. But credit where it's due, everybody stood up on their feet and applauded when the Poms won that game as well. And that came down to missed penalties too, straight misses. In comes Alex Schmidt, 1 lap earlier than Matt Carrick, so Carrick's gone a little bit longer.
Yeah, interestingly, he would have been doing a bit of fuel saving behind Carrick, even if it's accidental, just because he's got the toe. So it'd be interesting to see whether his stop will be shorter than Carrick's when the two have both made the pit stop. So I imagine Carrick will make his on the next lap. But I just want to put back Michael Schroeder, who we saw instigating that incident earlier on. Just evidently joining us in the for the broadcast after going out the race. So nice to have you with us, Michael. Thank you for watching. And just saying that he does normally hold his brakes, and that's fair enough. Not everybody gets it right every time. So he's defending himself, saying he does hold his brakes. So definitely, given that he normally holds his brake, a bit of bad luck for those that got caught up in that, because not everyone's going to get it. Going to hold their brakes every single time. So bad luck playing part there.
And also, like it's one of those things with GT3s. RC need to look even harder, because with the ABS, sometimes even though they are on the brakes, the car still rolls because of the ABS system. So they don't just lock them up like they do on other cars. So you can be deceiving sometimes if you see them at close look sometimes.
Yeah, that is true. One of the cases where the electronic aid's not quite designed for that for that possibility of sliding across the track and trying to be predictable. So interesting that's the case. And even does that apply even when you're reversing? Do the anti-lock brakes work?
Yeah.
Oh wow, did not know that. You learn something new every broadcast with Adam and Zach here on the GSRC platforms on a Monday night, on a Thursday night. We have a broadcast. And occasionally on a Sunday when we have the Endurance League. The next Endurance race should be an absolute cracker. Had a really great turnout for the first one, including a bunch of GT3s, so I'm sure quite a few of these drivers were there and will be there for the next race. And we're just seeing Matt Carrick now in the pits, as is Little, as is Foster, Schultz, Coleman, Gallagher, Bryant, Yarwood, Francone. The field is getting cleansed, as you like to say, Zach.
Exactly right. Upwards of 10 cars in the pit lane at the moment. Luke Mackay and Alex Schmidt continue on. We've got a Ford in front. Quick, somebody screenshot that while it's happening. The Ford leads the way. Yet to stop. We're on lap 15. The rest of the field, however, with the exception of Greg Padgett, is cleansed. Just waiting to see if Greg comes into the pit lane this time by. No, he doesn't. He continues on again.
I bet nobody thought we would see that tonight.
Yeah. I see what you did there. Well done.
So I had a message earlier today from Simon Cox from the Pro Split, and he was actually already on the ball saying that the Porsche has shown the officials that this is definitely a Porsche track. And as we can see by the timing tower, it is even in the AM split, which is normally a Ferrari-dominated split, the Porsches are making their way towards the front. So it's one of those track-to-car combos where the Porsche likes the circle layout.
And that's the beauty of GT racing, isn't it? Not every car, not every driver is going to like every circuit. A bit like TCR, actually, Liam. Some circuits suit different manufacturers better than others.
Yeah, they certainly do suit certain manufacturers better than the others. The Porsches tend to go pretty well everywhere, but certainly because this is such an all-round track, we always talk about it with the F1. It's where you go testing. It's where you really find out whether your car has a broad working window. So we're not surprised to see the Porsches effectively 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 once this field is cleansed. And I just want to call out, we said about Smith being behind Carrick and doing a bit of fuel saving. Yeah, he was 17.65 seconds in the pits versus 22.4 for Matt Craig. But look at Matt Craig's time. It's bigger than everybody else's. So I do wonder whether we went a little bit longer in his stops, and that has played its part there. And I just wanted to call out, there was a comment there for Daniel Saar moving up the field. He certainly is up into 11th, the highest Lamborghini at the moment, and having a solid drive.
Normally 20 plus second stops means usually is when they take all 4 tyres. So he may have done his tyres in the first stop here, and he's off racing.
Now here's the other thing as well, boys. Who's short fueled here? Adam Holland looks like he's short fueled. Tim Fuge looks like he's short fueled. So there's a few guys there that are strategically setting themselves up to run a more even, balanced setup. So stopping at about lap 11, lap 22 to get through to lap 34, 35, wherever we've got to go here. My guess is 34. At this point, looking at the clock, we're on lap 16. 17 gets us to halfway. We've still got another pit lane transit to do. We could sneak in 35, but a little bit of overtime may be required to do it.
Yeah, so it's probably pretty good. You see there's a couple of guys there with 22.4, 22.5. So that is probably 4 tyres and fuel. And then the other ones are probably fuel and some tyres, like fuel only or fuel and some tyres.
And some people might be thinking, why wouldn't you go full fuel? Why wouldn't you just do that and have a short stop at the end? And the idea behind that is you spend less time at full fuel, and obviously the more fuel you're carrying, the slower you go, as it is in theory. So if you can spend at maximum, have sort of 2/3 of your tank full and do 3 20-minute stints, then theoretically you're spending less time with more of a weight penalty, so you're faster. But what you give up is any sort of strategic variance, because you can't go any further because you aren't fueled for it. Less of an issue here where we don't have a safety car. But certainly safety car races, that's what you leave yourself open to, and you do leave yourself open if you're stuck in traffic, or if you... Sorry, just watch, see what happens here. If the car in front of you suddenly gets out of the way and you've got clean air, you might not be able to take advantage of it because you haven't got the fuel to. So that's where you leave yourself open if you go for 3 20-minute stints and really commit to it. So perhaps even starting without a full tank, compared to well, you would start with a full tank, but compared to having full fuel at the end of your first stop.
Indeed. 31 minutes and 5 seconds to go here. We're on lap 17. Schmidt, Carrick, and Fuge, Little, Holland, Benici, Sharp, Foster, Coleman, and Schultz the top 10 at the moment. 2 Mercs, 6 Porsches, BMW and a McLaren in the top 10 at the moment. Daniel Correa-Saras, who we're riding on board with, he'll be with me on Thursday night, and he's the first place of the Lambos. Then the Ferrari of Stephen Gallacher, the best place to the prancing horse down there in 13th. Best placed of the Fords is Luke Klein in 16th position. And the best place to the Audi, well, that's all parked up for the night. In fact, there have been some retirements. Matt Whitaker back in pit lane, has been for 2.25 minutes. Brian Bullock out of business after 8 laps. Sean Rees after 9 and Michael Schroeder after 5. But the rest of the field continues on. Remembering that if we get to 35 laps, 75% is 27. So that's the magic number that you've got to hit if you want to A, be classified, and B, score championship points. At the moment, everyone with the exception of Tim Watson still on the lead lap. And here's Dale Sharp under pressure from Mark Foster. The closest battle on the racetrack, but there's a 3-way fight behind that. Schultz, Coleman and Correa-Saras that we'll keep an eye on as well.
Yeah, the field's definitely more spread out than it was for the vast majority of that first stint. There wasn't really many gaps, but we got a few more gaps now, so there is that gap between Smith and Carrick that developed with the difference in stop time, which we think might be an invoice that Smith has to pay back with. We suspect Smith having only taken 2 tyres compared to Carrick perhaps taking all 4 and going to the end of the race without another tyre stop. You then got Fuge, who's 10 seconds behind Smith and Carrick, and he's in a really tight battle for that last spot on the podium. Calvin Little, 0.88 behind him. Adam Holland only a second behind him. Then you got a couple of big gaps between Benici and Sharp. Foster right behind Sharp. That's what we've got on screen right now. The McLaren. So you see the Lamborghinis. The McLaren against the BMW. Just not used to saying the McLaren, because whenever I see McLaren, it's out front, it's Matty Dench. See the difference in lines through there. I wonder if that's just McLaren accidentally turning in a little bit late. I can't imagine that was deliberate, but he's got a fairly nice run. It's right behind him here. Is he going to go for the inside? Fordy might, you saw the car shift across. Fordy might go for the dive, but it's not really a big enough braking zone now. Ever since they repurposed that corner to get past, and it's not a big braking zone here. You're kind of waiting until you get down to the first corner for your first real sort of fairly safe overtaking attempt. And as long as he sticks in that kind of proximity, he's going to be able to go for it once they get there this lap.
We mentioned the Matildas earlier, and I always do some social media scrolling during these broadcasts just to stay across different things on that subject. Round the Ground sporting update. The Boomers leading 75-27 over Venezuela at the moment. That'll be 3/4 time, and actually makes it 77-27. So the Boomers are well and truly home there, no doubt about that. But I just saw the Batuta Advocate. We love the people of the Batuta Advocate with their satirical humour. They said, Matildas v France, the biggest TV audience since that episode of Neighbours where Toadie drove Dee off the cliff immediately after marrying her. Very nice. That was 20 years ago, believe it or not. Very nicely done from the Batuta Advocate. The numbers have been extraordinary, and I wouldn't be surprised at all if the 7 network surpassed 3 million on Wednesday night, maybe even 4. And it'll be tenfold on that again once if they make the final. If not, they're playing for third, and the 7 network currently don't have rights for that match. Right, right, here we go. Mark Foster's 8th place at the moment, chasing Dale Sharp. Closest battle on the racetrack. Foster with a good run, up onto the back straight. McLaren all over the back of the bimmer, down the inside. Have a look, have a look, have a lunge. Gotcha. Foster set that up nicely, got the job done on the inside. And Sharp tucks in behind. 27 minutes to go. We're on lap 20. It is Monday Night Motorsport. Waste Options GT3 and on the platforms of the Gentleman Sim Racing Club. We're at the circuit of Barcelona, Catalunya. Not the hottest race you've ever seen up front, but we're waiting to see what Matt Carrig can bring to the table after the second round of pit stops. Now, bearing this in mind as well, Banksy and Adam Lavis had already been across this as well. We're almost at that window. We're almost at that threshold, that critical lap number or minute number where these guys could probably pragmatically top up and get home. And top the tank right up to the brim and get home.
Yeah, that's gonna be...
We're there.
Yeah, it'll be interesting to see if anybody does take the option. I think the reason you take the option is if you are caught behind someone you're pretty confident you're faster than, and you just want the better clean air to try and get them in the pit stops. No point losing time behind someone if you can pit into clean air and get away. But looking at the driver map, there are a few gaps out on circuit where it would be quite nice to just filter out. I'm thinking behind this battle here, you've got a nice little gap in which you could filter out and really hammer in the lap times. It'll be interesting to see if anyone's able to work that out whilst they're driving and then make a solid pit stop, take advantage of being at the critical lap and put in some really fast lap times. Not that the likes of Smith and Craig need that, because they are smashing it out front now, 10 seconds ahead of Tim Fuge in 3rd place.
Oh, side by side, have a look at this. The two teammates working together. Kelvin Little all over the back of Tim Fuge. 9 places gained so far for Tim Fuge. Great efforts to this point of the motor race. That's why it's a Porsche 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 at this point. Oh, he's a little bit wide coming onto the main straight, but he got away with it. However, it sets Little up with a run. Pulls out of the draft and goes for it. Little down the inside. Can he get the job done to turn 1? Yes. And
yes,
Fuge will let him go.
I was going to say, surely you don't fight your teammate that hard. He definitely looked to be the faster of the two, and it's now up to Tim Fuge just to prove that he is in fact faster. And is that 4 side hustle racing cars in a row? Because I believe it is. So we got Little, Fuge, and then...
No, Benici is not.
No.
The frog leap.
Yes.
But yeah,
you're right. So just a 3 in a row.
We just need Tim to get on board with the new number style, so he can get a little bit of pink on there, and we'll be good.
Where are the rest of our frog-juiced friends? I've seen a couple of them recently.
Braden Lachlan back in 17th.
Yes. Right, so not his best race, down 12 spots from where he started. I assume he had some sort of issue earlier on. I don't remember seeing anything though. Can you remember what happened to him?
No, so Matt Whitaker's off the track at the moment, boys, has been for 9 minutes. It escapes me as to what might have happened. I'm not across that, I must say. Aidan Schultz is the surprise for mine. He's dropped down to 9th place, despite being 5th place earlier in the piece. He too stopped for 22 seconds. That might be why. Stephen Galich, and Daniel Correa-Sarr has apparently dropped down as well. Let me just have a look here, see if we can find him. The Lambo is down in 12th, minus 12 places. Yeah, unbeknownst to us as to how that happened. Adam Holland, Tim Fuge, and Dale Sharp into pit lane as well here. Adam Bryant as well. So those guys have seen the clock and they've taken their chance to come to the lane, top up, and race to the checkered flag. Interesting, good call.
Yeah, I think so. I think you're right. I think that is a solid call. I certainly don't think it's the wrong call. Where we yet to see whether that works out for them, but it's not a bad shout.
Not at all.
And that puts Daniel Carrera back up a couple of places. Looking a little bit healthier now in 17th, but yeah, not sure what
Interesting
happened.
to see the different strategies playing out here as well, boys, and the fact that some of these guys have gone very early in the piece. Normally, you don't see that many of the top end of town go for the long, then the short run, then the long run again. It's an interesting strategy play.
Carrera says he's a third of the people who have stopped
Yes.
twice. That's where he's down the order.
That's what I just noticed as well. He pitted on lap 20, so he was the first of the pitters. And that was why he went back down the order. So maybe he's listening to the commentary and heard you say that it's critical lap and thought, you know what, yes, critical lap, time for me to pit. And yeah, he's third, only behind Fuge and Holland. And he's got 11 seconds of clear air to drive into. So he's playing absolutely blinder in the Lambo.
Clear air is a huge benefit to have a huge advantage at this time of the race. You spend a lot of time in the opening stanza in traffic, and then obviously the whole reason you go about your respective strategies is in the hope that you can buy some clear air. And to have 11 seconds of it, well, geez, you might not find any more hurdles or obstacles to overcome for the rest of the night. You might have clear air right through to the checkered flag. Lap 23, we anticipate getting to 34 or 35 laps tonight, ladies and gentlemen. We're 21 minutes from home.
It is amazing when you get yourself into clear air, how many drivers just can seem to slot in behind you because you're just driving so much more comfortably, just basically treating it like a practice session. And there'll be a few drivers in this field that have had their best drivers be when something's happened that's put them in clear air and have just been able to drive, and all of a sudden everybody keeps filtering in when they make their pit stops, everything gets clean, just filtering in behind them because they're making time. And particularly in the sim, you know, most drivers, they don't have anybody helping them. They don't know when there's someone behind them going really fast and they need to cover off at a pit stop. Unless you're really Johnny on the spot, it's really hard to figure out whilst you're trying to get around a circuit like Barcelona. You just can't. You can't do it. So unless you've got somebody helping you, which, you know, most of these guys won't, you just don't know that you need to pit to cover someone. So it's much more powerful than, say, in professional racing, where you will have a team and somebody to say, hey, actually pit, otherwise you're going to lose the position. You got no one doing that for you here.
No. And having that sort of assistance is a luxury in this game. Once upon a time during COVID, we had people actually constantly monitoring that sort of stuff. We had as many people driving as we did doing the tactical stuff behind the fence. Not so much these days. A couple of these guys have definitely got to fend for themselves. They don't have a strategist because all the strategists have got back busy in the real world. And a lot of the drivers have as well, no doubt about that. So to the commentators, 41 minutes gone, Adam.
The gap at the front's just hovering at 2 seconds now. So Carrick is doing his best to try and close that gap and try and get the leapfrog on the next pit stop.
Now, Luke Mackay, Ryan Wooden and Greg Heaney are all on pit road at the moment. So just having a look through, Greg Padgett yet to stop again, Robert Colbreth yet to stop again. Forget about the blokes that have stopped. Well, Tim Watson stopped twice, but he's also a lap down, so rub him out of the equation. Whitaker's out, Bullock, Rees and Schroeder won't finish either. Heaney, Mackay, Wooden will stop now. So Colbreth, Padgett, Kosh, Tristan Kosh, James Franco, Will Yarwood, Stephen Gallacher, Neil Gladwin, Kevin Coleman, Aidan Schultz, Mark Foster, Kelvin Little, Matt Carrigan, Alex Schmidt, all yet to stop. We'll wait to see how late they leave it, or otherwise the field may well be cleansed.
And there's Little stopping now, Schmidt and Carrigan going a bit further. It's so strange, isn't it, how the drivers at the front of the field, the drivers going the quickest, you'd think they would be some of the first to stop. You think, oh, they're going quicker, they must surely be using more fuel. But so often is the case, the guys at the front of the field are actually the last drivers to stop. Because they don't need to use the fuel to go faster, they're just faster, and they're in a rhythm. That's why they're going so quick. You don't want to interrupt your rhythm by pitting when you don't need to.
So when you're in front, you've got the track position, so you don't want to go back in and fall back behind position. Plus, obviously, a lighter car is a faster car, so if you're out in front, you may as well just run the thing dry, unless you need to undercut somebody.
Yes, precisely. why would you do that to yourself?
So Schmidt and Carrick. Carrick has closed the gap back up, boys, incidentally. He's closed back to within 0.4 of a second. So Adam Lavis had a point. He took some fresh rubber by the looks of it during that first stop. It may be about to reap some reward for him, or some kind of reward for him. However, it's a long way to go here. We're nowhere near the finish line just yet. A lot can happen, and usually does. Car parked inside of the right-hander there in the gravel trap. That's Tim Watson, a lap down. Maybe that's his way of getting out of harm's way. Schmidt and Carrick continue to lead the race. Schmidt the leader, Carrick second. Can Schmidt hold on with the rubber that he's got? Will he opt for some rubber when we get to the pit lane this time round?
See, the trick is with the second stop, because you're not taking as much fuel, even taking 2 tyres could be risky, because it takes about 10 or 11, 12 seconds to take 2 tyres. So if you're taking less fuel than that time, then you're basically just burning time in the pits to put that rubber on. We'll have to wait and see what he does here. But that being said, Kerry did burn 2 or 3 seconds on that last stop putting those tyres on.
Well, that's right.
So,
exactly.
but he's starting to make it back now. So he's taking his credits and using them.
Absolutely. But how much has he burnt in the rubber yard by doing that and running as hard as he's done? Have those tyres got more legs in them, or is he going to have to swap over again? We'll wait and see. Tim Fuge back into the top 10, getting by James Francone and Adam Holland, and of course Kelvin Little's just up the road from them as well. Top 8 yet to stop. So too Francone in 11th. So 9 cars at the top end of the town yet to stop.
Only 15 minutes of the race left to go. Can't imagine there's much left in the tank for any of the drivers yet to make their stop. Of those that stopped, Calvin Little, the highest placed in 9th place. He's going to hop back up the order towards the podium. Almost certainly on the podium at this point, given he had a bit of a gap before he pitted. And we're just watching a replay here of our favourite Ford on the circuit, and it's gone for a little spin. Not the time to be doing celebration on your donuts. Time to get back to racing, and then a little hop over the sausage curve. Don't want to do that too many times, but I think we'll get away without damage given he went over it relatively slowly, although it didn't look very comfortable. One of those times I think you'll be thankful that you're in a sim and not in the real car, and if you've got a butt kicker, it'll be going into overdrive when you do that. And this is Coleman just defending from Gladwin. Gladwin 0.8 of a second behind, and behind them Galicia and Yarwood have both pitted. So that's another couple of drivers cleansing the field. Only 5 or 6 to go now.
Schmidt, Carrick, Foster, Schultz, Coleman and Gladwin the top 6 at the moment. Little, Fuge, Francone and Holland the next best. How good's this been? The battle at the top of the field. Schmidt and Carrick. This one here, Coleman and Gladwin. 2 live active battles. With 13.5 minutes on the clock. We're on lap 27. So the numbers are on target and to get where we were anticipating we'd go, being 34, 35 laps. We'll get a clearer indication after the second round of pit stops as to whether it's going to be one or the other. Remembering they've only got to get back to the line within regulation time before that clock expires at 60 minutes to get that extra lap. And that's the buffer that they're playing with at the moment. Down into pit lane comes Alex Schmidt, and again Carrick goes on a lap longer. So a 13-lap run for Alex Schmidt in the opening stint, a 14-lap run this time round.
Does he go up on jacks? No tyres.
Oh, no jacks, no tyres. Again, will that come back to bite him? Will that hurt him in the long run? We'll wait and see. No jacks, no tyres. Gamble from Schmidt. But 12 seconds to stop, and he's off and away.
Is he going to get traffic? He might be in traffic here.
I believe that is a He's 4.7 seconds behind Aiden Schultz, which must be the next guy ahead, because that's a much smaller gap than 4.7 seconds. So I think that's a lapped car. So he might get lucky, might get out of the way for him. Either way, I think it's far enough ahead. That's not going to cause him any issues right now. But if he catches that coming over the fast right-hander, that could definitely slow him down and just give Carrick the edge. And this is Coleman with Gladwin right behind them. This is a battle that has gone on all race long. And the Twitchy Foot Racing entry of Gladwin will really hope that he can come out on top. Coleman doing everything he needs to right now to be in pole position should one of the top three come unstuck before the end of the race.
Full time at the Rod Laver Arena, Australia had defeated Venezuela in their World Cup warm-up 41, so a fairly one-sided affair there. Brazil, the next opponent at the new time of 5:30 on Wednesday, because no one wants to be competing in the audience stakes with the Matildas. Matt Carrick comes to pit lane. We keep our eyes on Alex Schmidt. He has resumed in third place. Aiden Schultz second, yet to stop a second time. But Matt Carrick is in. Let's keep an eye on where Schmidt is in relation to Carrick and what Carrick does strategically speaking. Now, remembering that these guys are both running Porsches, so it's interesting that Carrick went for tyres first time round. Schmidt did not. Aiden Schultz comes into the lane in the Mercedes. Now down the main straight. Oh, geez, Matt Carrick, a beautiful stop. Out he comes onto the racetrack and in front, if you don't mind, of Alex Schmidt. With a pit stop only half a second quicker than Schmidt's.
But Schmidt had to pass Aaron Bryan, so that might have cost him a little bit of time there.
It certainly has. Another sting in the tail. Another twist in the narrative. Matt Carrick finds himself back in front, and he does it on strategy play, Liam Banks.
Yeah, he does. Did really well there, and put in a really good outlap as well to help him get ahead of Alex Schmidt. Do not understate just how important that outlap is when you are trying to do an undercut like that. It's all well and good to, the pit times are only a half second between them, so that puts them neck and neck. So really the difference is outlap versus inlap, who was quicker, and the answer is Carrick was quicker, but it's definitely not over. Both of these drivers so evenly matched that you wouldn't bet against Schmidt clawing back that 1.8 seconds he is behind, or because all it takes is one mistake, one scruffy lap, and he's going to be right there. So it's going to be who can put it together best over the next 10 minutes, the next just over 5 laps. Well, I guess that's 6 laps of the race before the end. And just going back to the point about the not wanting to compete with the Matildas on Wednesday night. Of course, we will be with the Formula 4s and the Supercars on Wednesday night, clashing with the Matildas game.
I don't envy you, Banksy, because I'll have all I take Wednesday nights off, as you know. Oh, here we go. Move down on the inside. Stephen Gallacher making way. Dale Sharp going through into 10th. The top 10 for Dale Sharp again in the Bimmer. Now, interesting too. Yeah, no, I'll be parked up. I've got a T-bone steak and chips lined up for a beautiful meal on Wednesday night, and I'll be watching the Matildas. Don't worry about that. I'll keep one eye left to screen to see how you blokes are faring, but I expect you to be completely distracted by everything that's going on at a core stadium in Sydney.
We don't have a broadcast. It'll just be the racers that are getting distracted, thankfully.
Oh, that's right. Yes.
No excuse for me not to, you know what, I might have to get my own steak and have a very similar Wednesday night to yours.
Oh, mate, I was relieved today to be able to do a full shop. Haven't been able to do that for a couple of weeks. I did a full shop, and the rump steak was just, they were a little bit too big, the pieces of rump, but I saw a 500-gram T-bone sitting there, and I was like, that's mine.
That's a good call. That's a very, very good call.
Love a good T-bone steak.
And Dale Sharp having a good call here, deciding to stick behind Daniel Carrasco and just hold off making a move quite yet, and hopefully this doesn't end in a T-bone.
I see what you did there. Very nicely done. All right, let's continue on here.
Oh, I didn't even mention the stakes involved.
No. Matt Carrick, Alex Schmidt, and Kelvin Little, the top 3. This is the closest battle on the racetrack here at the moment. Daniel Carrasco and Dale Sharp. The other one is Tim Fuge and Mark Foster. Mark Foster's done a beautiful job to get a McLaren wedged inside an otherwise Porsche-dominated top 7. The Mercedes of Schultz is 8th. The The Lambo of Korea Sar is 9th, the Bimmer of Dale Sharp is 10th, and the Ferrari of Stephen Gallacher is 11th. So you got 6 different manufacturers in the top 11, but you've got 2 in the top 7. And you've got 6 Porsches. It may as well be Thursday night. And remember, don't forget to join us Thursday night. Production cars, Mazda MX-5s, first up for our production car series. And then, of course, we get stuck into the Porsche Cup, and that will be a beauty on Thursday night. So Matt Whitaker saying, haven't raced GT3 in a long time. How is my trip to space? Lap 1 on the yellow curb. Yeah, exactly. He'll try again next week. Saddle up, early shower for him tonight, regroup, and back on the grid next Monday night. We are bringing you the AM split again next Monday night as well, ladies and gentlemen. Just a heads up. 6.5 minutes to go on a super fast post-race show awaits us as well, Liam Banks, because our producer is on borrowed time tonight.
I'll believe that when I see it. I don't think I've ever seen a super fast post show with you involved, Zach. But there's a first for everything, and that's Dale Sharp. I think almost having to go for the move around the outside there, just carrying so much more speed into that corner. He had to just make sure it wasn't on the same line as the Lamborghini in front, otherwise he's going to go back into it. I think it's going to be very hard for Daniel Saar to hold him off until the end of the race. And just with that comment about going to the space of the yellow curbs, makes me wonder if NASA couldn't have saved a whole lot of money building a rocket ship if they could have just got, a racing car from the time and launched a sausage curb. They would have made it into space much quicker.
Absolutely.
Matt Carrick pumping out the some good lap times, a 1:42.8, Alex Smith a 1:43.6, Carrick doing everything he needs to do to break the resolve of Smith behind him and really put a strong stranglehold onto the race lead with just over 5 minutes remaining.
The only Carrick and Yarwood the only ones in the 42s that last lap.
Yeah, you are right, and Yarwood all the way down in 15th, bucket slow the pace, but not the positions to show for it.
Yarwood punched out his PB of the night thus far as well, 1:42.961. 5 minutes left on the clock. So when they get back to the line, it'll be 3 laps to go. We will go to overtime. We will go to 35 laps. We are in that final 5. Big night ahead. Or for the Matildas on Wednesday night, big night ahead for us on Thursday night. Bigger night ahead next Monday night for these guys as well, boys, because we go to the Circuit de la Sarthe and we extend the clock out to 90 minutes, which will be good fun. I'm looking forward to Monday Night Motorsport next week. So AM split from Le Mans, interesting. We, of course, took the pro split there last time we went there. So that'll be good fun. Have a look at this battle. Daniel Correa Sar and Dale Sharp for the final spot in the top 10. Dale's on the losing end of that ledger at the moment. We go to 9.
Yeah, I thought he might have gone for a more definitive move by now. He seems to have more pace, but I am wondering if maybe it's just a little bit of the slipstream being deceiving because, yeah, it hasn't gone for it yet, and he's quickly running out of time. If he's going to make a move, it's going to have to be soon.
I've seen there's a couple of times, there's a couple of little wobbles just behind him, so every time he gets close, he just has a little wobble and has to make that gap back up again.
Three and a half minutes to go. It'll be a couple of laps next time they reach the checkered flag. Tim Fuge joining Carrick in the 42s with a 1:42.6. That's his best lap of the night in 4th place, and he's only 1.7 seconds behind Kevin Little. At current pace, he would make that up before the end of the race, so we might have a live battle for 4th. And Tim Fuge, a live battle for 3rd before the end of the race. The podium positions aren't quite settled yet, so we'll keep an eye on that on the timing screens for you. But right now, the closest battle on track is Correa Sar and Sharp. Look at the amount of entry speed that BMW's got compared to the Lambo. Lambo definitely looked a little bit better on exit, but on entry, on the brakes, that BMW is all over the back of him. He just can't figure out how to get past, although I have to say there, I think he's got a little bit deep.
I was going to say, Carrick looks like he's got this race under control now. Alex Schmidt looks like he'll have to set up a second. Kelvin Little and Tim Fuge, that's still up for grabs. And then Mark Foster in 5th place. Adam Holland, Sean Benici and Aidan Schultz make up the top 8. Then Daniel Correa-Sarr and Dale Sharp, the only battle in the top 10 at the moment that we've got any interest in. Beyond that, this is Braden O'Loughlin going off the circuit and rejoining behind Ryan Wooden, 16th and 17th. We've got 24 cars still out there on the circuit. Tim Watson has got to that threshold of 27 laps, remains in pit lane, probably parked up for the night. Yeah. So it looks like of the 29 that started, we'll get 25 home classified, which isn't too bad. Actually, that's well done. Not as big a rate of attrition as I was anticipating.
Well, it is a track that most of these drivers will know pretty well. It would have been on every video game they've ever played. For those that are a bit younger, for those that are a bit older, they would have been pounding around this track in iRacing for years. There's not really much excuse for not knowing this track, I would say. So it's probably one where the level of just knowledge of how this track functions is going to be pretty high compared to some of the other tracks we go to, like say Willow Springs and the GT4, where for a lot of drivers that would have been there the first or second time on the track. That's not the case here. Everybody in this race has probably been on this track at least a dozen times. So that might be part of it, and that's Daniel Saar. How many times are you going to say this? Looking at the back of trying to defend from Dale Sharp, has the gap been about half a second over the last 5 laps? Because I don't think it has, and with only 35 seconds remaining, it might be now or never. He's got a really good run out of the fast right-hander. Can he make a move on the brakes? He's been strong on the brakes all night. Whoa. Daniel Saar just moves over to the left a little bit, just makes him think twice. Really good defensive driving there from Daniel Saar, and that might be what keeps him ahead. Only 1 lap next time they cross the line, and he will have done it. He will be finishing in 9th place, but he's got a hell of a job to try and keep Dale Sharp behind him. And that battle for the final position on the podium between Little and Fuge has come alive. Half a second between the two of them with 1 lap to go.
And Schultz is closing in on Benici as well. 3 battles to keep an eye on. Clock expires. We're on the way home. We're on our run to the checkered flag, ladies and gentlemen. Half a lap to go for Carriage. The rest of them have still got upwards of 3/4 of a lap to go. We've got Kelvin Little there, holding off Tim Fuge for the moment. Teammates, will there be any multi-21 BS happening there over the course of the remaining 3/4 of this lap? Not by the looks of it at this particular point in time. Aidan Schultz closing in on Sean Benici. Might not get there. Might not get there. But what about this guy at the front? Matt Carrick. Brilliant job to lead the opening stanza of the race. Close the deficit to Alex Schmidt in the second stanza, and then waltz away with it very comfortably in the end. And it looks as though taking the gamble for fresh rubber has well and truly paid off. Uh-oh! Teammates come together. We're getting back to that in a moment. In the meantime, Matt Carrick's the winner at the Circuit de Barcelona, Catalunya. Alex Schmidt second. A margin 6.1. Kelvin Little third. Tim Fuge fourth. That's not done yet. Fuge and Little it is now, though. Little's just got to get it round this final corner cleanly. Does so. Onto the main straight. Kelvin Little gets onto the podium. Tim Fuge up 8 spots into 4th. Mark Foster, Adam Holland coming in behind them. Then Sean Benici's going to hold off Aidan Schultz, a fast-charging, hard-finishing Aidan Schultz. Up 3 spots on where he started. It started better than it finished. He was up 5 or 6 at one point. Daniel Correa-Sarr holds off Dale Sharp. Neil Gladwin and William Yarwood will be 11th and 12th. Oh boy, it's certainly spiced up just nicely there towards the end. Unfortunately, one of the characteristics of the Circuit de Barcelona, Catalunya, is that we do reach a stalemate at one point or another. That was a big send from Fuge. It was never going to work. He was never going to pull it up. He did well, actually, to keep it off the grass and the dirt. But in the end, Matt Carrick leads home a Porsche 1, 2, 3, 4. What about Mark Foster and the McLaren? I mean, for everything that Dentji's doing with McLaren in the top split, we're not surprised by that because it is Dentji. But Mark Foster's put a McLaren in the top 5. Holland and Benici, the Porsches, then the Mercedes of Schultz, the Lambo of Correa-Sarr, and the BMW of Sharp.
Yeah, I think the main story there's got to be Matt Carrick running riot over the rest of the field. Comfortable victory over Alex Smith in the end. It looked like it was going to be close for most of the race, but just on strategy and I think just about on pace, having the edge and that gap going out to 6.25 seconds at the end of the race. So Matt Carrick living up to the namesake of his team and doing a fabulous job, and some nice little celebratory donuts there that are going to continue. Calvin Little doing a really good job to defend and hold on to third place with his teammate Tim Fuge, giving him a hell of a scare on the last lap, and I'm sure they'll be chuckling over that in the banter in their I'm sure the chat that they've got going right now. And here are the final results for you, just to confirm. Carrick, Smith and Little, your top three, your podium sitters. Tim Fuge just off the podium in fourth. Foster, a brilliant job in the McLaren in fifth place. Then Adam Holland makes it 3 Side Hustle Racing entries in the top 6. Sean Benici repping America in 7th. Schultz in 8th. Correa in 9th. Sharp in 10th. Really good race from Correa, Sharp and Schultz all finished in the top 10. Then you got Neil Gladwin for Trichycott Racing, William Yarwood, Kevin Coleman, James Francone up 3 positions, Warren Wooden up 7 positions into 15th, and then O'Loughlin, would like to know what happened to him, down 11 spots, qualified in 5th place, finishes in 16th, Bryant in 17th, Kush in 18th, Heaney in 19th, we saw him getting involved in an incident earlier on, and then Luke Mackay in 20th position. Behind them, a few more drivers to go. Such a big field in the amateurs these days. Makes you wonder if at some point in the next couple of seasons we'll end up with 3 splits instead of 2. Such other numbers we're starting to get, which is wonderful to see. Gallagher in 21st, Brian in 22nd, Culbreath in 23rd, Greg Paget, the last point scorer, in 24th, then Watson, Whitaker, Reese, Bullock, Schroeder and Zuno, all not finishing, and I believe that Zuno might have been in race control.
Yes. I think you're right. There's Matt Carrick celebrating in style. Poor bloke, he lives in Brisbane. And we're only, a month and a half away from winding the clock back 112 years. Just lovely. Well done to Matt Carrick. Brilliant performance. And you can tick that one off your bingo card if you want, ladies and gentlemen. What a surprise that one M. Dench is joining us in the broadcast booth now as well. So I've got a feeling that we'll have some results that might fare favourably for him up on the screen in just a few moments from the Pro Split. In the meantime, here's some highlights from the AM Split race for you, ladies and gentlemen, with Tim Fuge going into pit lane there. Fuge, look at that for a sideways moment. Jeez.
This is on the start of the race. So he pitted down the green flag.
He pitted on the... Oh, right. And still got back to finish in 4th. That makes it all the more impressive. And he wasn't the only one. Kelvin followed him in, didn't he? Was that... Yeah.
Might have been a replay glitch.
Okay, copy that. All right. Matt Carrick got the job done here. Ultra impressive tonight. He celebrated in style as rightly he should with the burnouts on the main straight there. 1:42.198, the fastest lap of the race. We've got him and Mark Foster standing by to have a chat to us here in just a moment. And we'll just remind everybody as they make their way in here, you've got to have your push to talk activated, ready to rock and roll. Let's get stuck into the post-race show. Let's invite Matty Dench in. Matt, good evening to you. We didn't see this race, mate. We were following the AM Split tonight, so you might shed some light on how it all played out for you, please.
I qualified P1 and finished ahead by 20 seconds. So, yeah, it was just a cruisy race, I think.
So essentially, you've just swept the floor clean with everybody, towed them all up. Very nicely done. Taken them to the cleaners and taken them for all they're worth. I can't say I'm surprised. Although that being said, we were following the progress of Mark Foster here in the AM Split for the same reason that we follow your progress, because he's actually the lone assassin, the lone soldier for the McLaren stable. Okay, so you won by 20 seconds. So there's no point in me asking you how everybody else's race played out, because for you it just sounds like it was another training run, mate.
Yeah, I mean, the car felt really good. We picked up the fastest lap. We improved it on the last lap with a 40.8. So, yeah, the car felt really good all racing.
All right, mate. So, Liam, whilst we've got him, let's pick his brain about next week. And let's also highlight The reality of the situation, here it is. There's the results. Dench Glisset King Distill Cox the top 5. Then Nick Wood, Martin Carew, Thomas Martin, Wayne Hewitt, and Ben Woods the top 10. Let's also highlight that coming into tonight, Denchi had a solid lead in the points race here. It was 76 points that he had on Simon Cox going into the round. So the fact that he's towered the competition up there, there's a real distinct chance that we're going to get to the end of the season and it's going to be a dead rubber again if he keeps racking up the numbers the way he's going at the moment.
Yeah, and I think if you'd said that to me at the end of last season, I'd have been quite surprised because we knew who was switching over to McLaren. He teased that for us. And it looked like there were a gaggle of 3 or 4 drivers that looked like they might just make the step up. And you've raised your game again, haven't you? Like, how do you keep doing it?
I mean, the first, 3 weeks, I would say, we've just sort of slowly come to grips with the McLaren, and it's all starting to come together, and we've got some pretty solid pace at the moment.
And how do you feel in McLaren versus I'm trying to remember what you raced last season? Now the Lamborghini. Have you found you evidently got to grips with it speed wise? But from a personal preference-wise, would you still rather be in the Lambo, or has the McLaren grown on you?
I've always had a soft spot for the McLaren, but it's never really the favoured car in the officials, so you just never really drive it. And it's fairly similar to like the Lamborghini and the Audi, which I drove the season before the Lamborghini. So we want to get all the mid-engine cars out of the way before we switch over to something front-engine.
Right, so maybe that's when we'll finally find a chink in the armor, is when you switch to a front engine car. Maybe that'll be the opportunity for others to get ahead of you. But given we've shown the amateur split, I think we'll move on to our protagonists from the AM split tonight. Congratulations on another victory, Matty Dench.
Yeah, thank you, and it's good to see another McLaren up there in the AM split too, Martin.
Yeah, absolutely. But Denchy, before you go, Circuit de la Sarthe next week, 90 minutes. Last time you were there, I'm pretty sure you were in the Lambo, were you not?
I believe I was, yeah.
Yeah. How do you feel about the McLaren around the venue? Is it going to be similar?
Well, considering how good the car felt around Barcelona, I think we might go pretty good at Le Mans. So.
All right, mate. Very nicely done. Looking forward to seeing what you bring to the table next week. We'll let you go because we're on borrowed time tonight. We've got to get out of here earlier than usual for Adam Lavis. So thank you for that. Well done. Congratulations again. And hopefully the competition will up its game for Le Mans.
Yeah, it'll be good to see some more people up at the front giving me a rough time.
Yeah, exactly right. And that's the thing about Denchy, Banksy. Thanks, Denchy. Good work, mate. Well done again. And that's the thing about him, Banksy. He welcomes that competition. He somewhat wants it because he knows as well as we do that it sometimes gets a little bit lonely and a little bit stale if he's just out there clocking up the laps without anyone, giving him any sort of what for.
Yeah, and while he has admitted that he does prefer the races where he's towards the front from the start compared to like the reverse grid races, he does live that. Like he said, it's not just a saying that. He's actually before now, posted his setup online and said, "Look, this is the setup I'm using. Here, use it just in case it is the setup while you're struggling." And then he did that, and nobody got any closer. So it's sort of proof that it is down to his talent. Not just his engineering abilities or there's no secret to his pace. It's just he's driving better than everybody else at the moment, and it's up to them to figure out why he's driving better and put it into practice.
Indeed it is. But then again, when they somewhat think they've found the formula, found the secret, found the ingredients for success, he goes and, changes the game again and one-ups them once more. We've got Kelvin Little and Alex Schmidt standing by to have a chat here as well with us. We'll drag them into the booth. We've got Mark Foster and Matt Carrick here too. So we've got 4 of the top 5 standing on by. We might start with the race winner, Matt Carrick, and then go to Alex Schmidt. Guys, nice to have you in here. The AM split on broadcast for the first of consecutive weeks. Matt, congratulations, mate. Porsche 1, 2, 3, and 4 tonight. You're at the top end of the tree. And really, you and Schmitty, you did the damage in the opening 20 minutes. You built that buffer between the rest of the pack, and you were left to race amongst yourselves for the rest of the night. And the defining moment may well have been some strategic play on your part in the first pit stop, which I'll get your comment on in just a moment. But also, of course, then keeping it clean, closing the gap in the second stint, and then coming out all of a sudden with a 3-second buffer to play with in the final stint, and then you extend that out on the run to the checkered flag, mate. Well done.
No, cheers for that. Yeah, nailed it. I thought with the Porsche, it's good track car combo for me, and although it can be a little bit hard on tyres, I thought I'd pinch some tyres on the first stop while we had a full fuel load coming on. I thought it would cost me about 4 seconds stationary time to get the tyres, but I thought that'll come back to me at the end. And the middle stand, I tried to conserve a little bit of fuel and just, not treat the tyres too harsh, so they lasted. So I still had a good set at the end. If Alex was, if we're in tight confines after that second stop. So congratulations, Alex. You kept me honest there, and I think it was quite a good close race for most of it.
Coming back to you, Matt, in just a moment. Let's bring Alex Schmidt in. What did you do with regards to tyre strategy, mate? Just to clarify.
I thought I could pull it off, but obviously it backfired on me at the end after about when Matt was about 2 seconds ahead. I knew that was it. It wasn't worth pushing anymore, and I just called it quits. I think the thing with me is I can only pop on when I can, so my racing time is limited, and that when it comes down to understanding tyres. So the pace is there, the consistency is there, but just understanding how the tyres go is the big thing, and that is what cost me at the end. So brilliant job, Matt. Really consistent. Top job.
Indeed. Hey, so you thought you could go without taking tyres at any point? Is that what I was gauging from that?
Yeah, that's it. I mean, I hadn't done a full stint, so it was just a bit of a lucky guess.
Stiff gamble, no doubt about that. So how strictly worn were the tyres? How shot were they by the end of 60 minutes?
I got a few of those generic iRacing messages saying, you got to look after your tyres. So when you see that, you're in trouble. So I just thought, nah, back off. Get the second place. It's better than not finishing. So yeah,
100%. Stick with me, mate. I'm coming back to you in a moment. Just let's go back to Matt. Why? I guess now it doesn't matter because you got the job done. The strategy worked beautifully for you and worked and fell into your lap just nicely. But the gamble to go for the tyres at the first stop, not the second, was that because of the fuel numbers more so than anything else?
Yeah, sort of on the numbers, I was probably needed about 20 to 25 litres on the second stop to get me home.
Yep.
So I thought less stationary time if I'd taken it to the first stop.
Well, that too. I mean, if you were wanting to play a different strategy and do the short drop and then do the full stop second, then you probably could have taken the tyres there as well. So I guess the question is, how worn were they by the time you got to the first stop? How worn was the first set? And then conversely, how worn was the second set?
They weren't too bad on the first one. Like, it was a little bit warmer, around that 33-degree track temp at the start. They were a little bit squishy, but the wear was relatively good for me anyway. I'm usually terrible on tyres.
To be fair as well, mate, we expected them to probably be better first set to second set because you spent far less time on that first set.
Yeah, it was. Yeah, so I just tried to really look after the new set after my first stop, just so I had some tyre at the end just in case. Alex didn't take any on his second stop, and but I could see I was sort of just gradually just closing the gap, even though I was sort of taking it quite easy. Just sort of shaving a few tenths off here and there. So, just tried to keep patient and see how we came out after the last stop and go from there.
All right, mate. Hey, the fight from Alex was fantastic, but obviously, as he said himself, he released the pressure valve when he realised that 2 seconds was going to be a bridge too far. But do you like a situation like that where you've got someone keeping you honest, where you've got a target, where you've got that little bit of pressure to, I guess, give you something to focus on rather than just doing the basics of going through the motions of clocking lap after lap?
Yeah, it probably did. It was a nice little carrot to dangle there and just keep an eye on the relative and that way. So yeah, it keeps your concentration going. I must admit though, it's an unfamiliar feeling for me being up the front end of races. So I'll take it this time, but yeah, just keep working hard, hopefully, and they find myself in a few more situations like that going forward.
Yeah, just to bring you back in at this point in time, Alex, as well. Adam Lavis observed that you, on the outlap after your second stop, you might have got balked by some traffic, did you?
Yeah. I mean, that's the thing. It's like lap traffic can just be really unpredictable. And yeah, there was probably a situation where I did come out and I probably didn't get into the corner the way that I really want to. And then again, that's at half a second, you know, and that adds up, those little mistakes at the end, and that's the big thing. That was the big factor at the end. So yeah, I think the big thing is you got to think strategy, and to be honest, I didn't really have a strategy. I was just racing for the sake of racing, but that's what you need, you know, to get you to that first place. So yeah, one of those things.
Yeah, absolutely right. I haven't seen as much at the Amstel as I would have liked to this season, guys, because as you know, I've had one more Monday night off than planned. But how are things situated here for you guys to set up? And I mean, obviously, Alex, I'm not talking to you here so much as I'm talking to Matt, because you've already said that you only get in when you can. But for you, Matt, how's this now set up the final 4 rounds of the season, mate?
Well, I'm sort of in the similar boat to Alex, to be fair. This is my first race of this current season. Monday nights.
Look at you. You've just started off beautifully. Quit while you're ahead. Yeah.
Yeah, see you later, guys. No, just joking. Yeah, Monday nights can be a little bit difficult around that sort of 7:30. I'm normally, but tonight it sort of worked out. I managed to clear some stuff off, so managed to get in. But no, I try and make it in whenever I can and see how we go.
It's about to get worse for you, mate, when we get back for turn 4 when it's bloody well 6:30. That's another story. You know my gripe on that. Liam, any questions to fire at Matt and Alex here? I can see you lighting up.
I mean, just congratulations being for. I'm still gobsmacked that you said it was your first race back. So see you in Pro Split next week.
Yes.
Yeah, I'll try to make it in.
Let's say enjoy the victory while it lasts.
Absolutely.
Well deserved. It's so tight between the two of you. Didn't know which way it was going to go at any point during that race, and I was shocked when I saw that the gap was 6 seconds. But that was very well explained by yourself, Smith, saying that you were just looking after the tyres at the end because you'd had a few warnings. It's always scary when you hear that. I've heard that a few times in Enduros and thought, ooh, this is about to get spicy. And then immediately thrown it against the wall. So you did well to bring it home, I think, in the end. And congratulations to both of you.
Cheers, Liam.
Thanks, Liam.
If you can get back here next week, boys, it's the Circuit de la Sarthe that's calling. One of the great tracks of world motorsport, and it should throw up a pretty good race.
Yeah, it should be good. Be interesting to see. Obviously, the Porsche have been a little bit lacking in top end a little bit compared to maybe the Mercedes and stuff. So with the long straights at Le Mans and that, we'll see how we go.
Tuck into the slipstream, boys. You'll be okay. And about that. No, well done tonight, boys. Congratulations on that. I mean, you've basically shot all my questions to pieces because you're not regulars in the campaign. But isn't it great, Banksy, when you get blokes like this that come in and just spice things up and rattle the cages by helping shape the way in which things play out rather than so much factoring in contention themselves?
Yeah, it is. It's one of the joys of watching the amateur split. I said, was it last week? I mean, it's a real shame that we're not able to just show both splits all the time.
Yep.
Because the amateurs are so entertaining, and you do get more wild cards because I think not only do you get the likes of yourself, Carrigan and Smith, like coming in for even if you can't do the whole season, but you also get biggest swings in form between all the other drivers. So you really don't know what you're going to get every time we look at the amateur split, and the racing is always fantastic, and it's always a surprisingly high quality. So it's a real shame we can't bring these guys to the screens every round.
Yep, and no, agreed. And we get to showcase them for 90 minutes next week, and I'm just trying to scratch my head and remember the last time we actually did enduro race with the M split as opposed to the pros. So we're venturing into rarely charted territory next Monday night. Hey, boys, well done. Thank you for that. What's next, Matt? Does the schedule on other nights allow you to have a bit more of a double than Monday?
Yeah. So certainly in about 4 weeks' time, I'll be free. But I'll try and make it in next week and give it another crack.
4 weeks' time's no good, mate, because that's the end of the season. No. All right, mate. Well done tonight. Hey, Alex, we see your name pop up on quite a regular basis. I'm assuming that we'll see you on Thursday night in some capacity. Yes.
Thursday night. No, unfortunately, don't have any plans. I'd love to do next Monday. It's actually my favourite track, but unfortunately, I'm going to be down in Tassie. So yeah, what a shame. That's my favourite track.
I was going to say, there's very few people that say anything other than Bathurst when you ask them the question, what's your favourite track? I love that someone's gone and said the Circuit de la Sarthe in Le Mans, France. Fantastic stuff. Hey, boys, go well. Thanks for that.
Thanks for having us.
No worries. You're welcome.
Kelvin Little, welcome into you, and also Mark Foster as well, boys. As we wrap things up here, we'll have a look at the championship points as soon as they're done with Adam Lavis as well. We've got about 15 minutes to fill here, but as we do, Mark, I might start with you. In a Porsche dominated, in a Porsche dominated top end of town, how nice to be the lone assassin for the McLaren, mate.
I'm very happy with the way that the race went tonight. Thanks, Zach. It was it kind of played out the way that I wanted to, and I do like being the only Macca there. The Porsches are definitely a faster car, and they had it over me tonight, but I was glad to be able to hold them off, or at least fight with them for most of the race.
Fight with them, you certainly did. In saying all of that, I mean, when you look at the results here, and look that, I mean, there were 4 Porsches in front of you, 2 immediately behind you. There were 6 Porsches in the top 7, which makes your achievement all the more impressive. And as Genchi said, it's nice to see that you're in the minority with these McLarens, but you're punching above your weight.
I think it's pretty underrated, even though it's really old. It's not the new shiny toy like the Porsches and the upgraded Ferrari. It's actually overrated, and I don't know. They've done a little bit to it, I think, and it just seems to have come good for me. It just works for me, which is, I mean, look, I'm nowhere near Denchi at all. His time, when he said his time before, I just about, I'm still a second and a bit off with my best. So, but it's definitely working for me this season anyway.
Indeed it is. We'll have a look at the championship points very shortly, no doubt. Aidan Schultz just saying, well done on to the podium. He's chuffed with the setup on baseline once again, the result, that is. Unfortunately, the pit stop stuffed him up there. Yeah, Schultz, we wondered what was bloody well happening, mate, because we saw that you gained 6 spots at the opening stint and then just dropped back. And that was a very nice charge from him, actually, in the opening stint there. So that's what it means for the championship, the results of tonight, and we'll continue with the boys in just a moment. Mark Foster jumps up, actually, a few spots to 167 points in 6th place. In front of him in the top 5, a Porsche, 2 Ferraris and 2 Bimmers. 254 for Adam Lee Holland now, 58 points clear of Dean Eldridge. Then 4 points back to Sean Rees, who had a shocker tonight, and so did Eldridge, actually. A DNF and a DNR between them. Dale Sharp 191 has closed the gap with these 10th place finish, and William Yarwood with 12th goes to 178. Then Foster on 167, Frenco on 163, and that's a change of position round on round. We go back to Kevin Coleman, 161, 159 for Stephen Gallacher, and 156 for Daniel Correas, making up the top 10. Just have a look at that for the moment, though. I mean, bloody hell. 21st for Gallacher is not anything to write home about, and 13th for Coleman those three results there have really well and truly helped Mark Foster out. We've got 1, 2, 3, 5, 6 different manufacturers in the top 10 at the moment. Lambo, Ferrari, Mercedes, McLaren, Bimmer, and Porsche. We've got, 6th to 10th, separated by 11 points. Tim Fuge knocking on the door there just ahead of Sean Benici, who are both in the top 10 tonight. Mark, when you look at that, I mean, results fell your way tonight. You're sitting there knocking on the door of the top 5 in this championship. Consistency is going to be very important for you over the next 4 weeks, mate.
Yeah, absolutely. I missed Spa, which was not ideal, but I'm hoping once the drop rounds are taken into account, it might put me up a little bit more. Yeah, like I got a little bit lucky tonight. I think it was, I don't know who it was, but the major thing that I had happen to me tonight was in the first pit stop when someone hit the wall right in front of me going into the pits, which wasn't ideal and cost me, I don't know, 3 or 4 seconds because I had to kind of wait for him to bounce off a few walls. But I made the mistake, I think, of taking the tyres in the first stop as well, which didn't play out as well as I hoped.
And that's the thing as well. It's a double-edged sword, isn't it? For some cars, the tyres chew faster than they do on other cars. And for different horses for courses, for some people it worked, like as we saw with Matt Carrick, it worked for him to take him first stop. For others, it would have been more beneficial to do it the second stop.
Yeah, I honestly didn't realise it was an hour-long race until about 2 minutes before the race, so I didn't actually have a strategy at all. I'm lucky enough to have done a longer race here in only last night, a 2-hour race, so I knew the tyres were going to go off. But I thought that by taking them in the first stop, it would make my second stop a lot shorter, and I'd be able to jump a few who hadn't had that experience. But the tyres weren't too bad. I think I finished with like 30 or 40% front left, which is usually the worst tyre around here. But it was more the heat. I think I just cooked them a little bit when I was pushing after Tim in those last few laps.
And I think you've just highlighted 2 things there. Practice pit entries for those that are cladding the wall on the way in. And make sure you know how long you're racing for. I think they're the 2 most important points that we've realised here over the course of the last few minutes. Now, with regards to all of that, mate, we'll get to Banksy in just a moment because I know he wants to fire you a question. But, 6 rounds down, 4 to go. Drop rounds are going to play a part. I just realised, actually, drop rounds don't do me any favours this time around because I've actually lost 3 Monday nights, thankfully. You don't score points for being in the commentary box. But in saying all of that, next week, Circuit de la Sarthe, 90 minutes, completely different challenge to this.
Yeah, I'm really looking forward to it. Look, I actually was a bit surprised about the pace of the Porsche coming through the last 2 corners tonight, because usually the McLaren, it's a bit slower heading in, but I can get a bit more pace heading out and use the top end speed of it, but it didn't really work that way tonight. So I'm hoping I reckon the Macca's got a slight speed advantage, so it might work okay for me. Look, in the end tonight, I was wrapped with my race. Kelvin and Alex and Matt smashed us. You know, it was fantastic. But looking forward to it. And hopefully, once these drop rounds, get calculated, I might pop up 1 or 2 spots and have a shot at hitting a podium.
Indeed, and
pretty sure they come into effect next week.
Yep, into effect at the end of next week. So stick around on Monday Night Motorsport after the race next Monday night. We'll have a bit more insight and intel into that for you. Liam, anything you want to ask Mr. Foster while he's here?
Yeah, have you considered hitting up Matty Dent for some setups and some tips?
I haven't. No.
You should.
Say. Oh yeah. Like you say, I think Denchi's just a freak and can do things in any car. So, if he wants to throw some my way, I'll have a go at him. But I think I'll just embarrass myself by not getting anywhere near his times. I when I heard that he was in it, I was really surprised because I don't think anyone liked the car. So I'm rapt to see that it can still be driven really fast and well. So hopefully we'll see a few more people jumping back into it.
Excellent.
Very nice. Well done. Hey, how good's the end of this calendar, Banksy, right? 3 of the longest circuits and one of the best circuits on the calendar. Circuit de la Sarthe, Phillip Island for sprint racing, Mount Panorama for 60 and then Road America for 90, right? You couldn't ask for a better run home from those 4 tracks right there, particularly sprint racing at Phillip Island, because that always delivers a belter.
Yeah,
Going to be absolutely fantastic.
Phillip Island, for my money, I'm going to say, I'm sorry, I think it's the best Australian track. It just is. It's absolutely phenomenal. Every time we go there with the GSRC, we have cracker sack whenever we are commentating anything at Phillip Island. Doesn't matter what car it is. Always amazing. I mean, Bathurst will be incredible. High rate of attrition, and I bet we'll get a few people out for the first time in the AM split at Bathurst, just as the such as the way of being an Australian racing club. Le Mans, Le Mans GT3 Endurance, name and a more iconic duo other than maybe Monaco and F1. Like, it just has to be done. And then Road America, always fantastic racing. I'd probably swap Phillip Island or Bathurst to end the season over Road America if I had to make one change. But yeah, what a run-in. Absolutely superb.
You can take that up with Adam Lavis, committee members and drivers alike, Liam. Thanks. Very nicely done. Mark, thanks for stopping on by, mate. Well done on the top 5.
Thanks, guys, and yeah, congratulations to the podium. It was a great race.
It certainly was. Speaking of the podium, Kelvin Little, well done. Not without a big send from Tim Fuge, your teammate on the final lap. Clearly no multi-21 garbage going on in your camp at the moment.
Yeah, that was. I expected it, but we were talking on a separate Discord during the race, and look, I mean, Matt and Alex did a great job early on, and they started pulling away really, really quickly, and I just felt my tyres dropping off quite quickly. I'd raced last night as well, and had a shocker in that race, and so I mean, I'm absolutely stoked with third. I didn't expect to be up there. I knew I had a bit of pace. I'd done some officials and hadn't done half bad in those through the week, but I think, classic Kelvin is what the side hustle boys call it when I come into a race and haven't really done much prep and not particularly consistent, and that's sort of my biggest problem at the minute is finding consistency. I think I've got a little bit of pace. I'm all right, I guess, and that, but yeah, need to be a bit more consistent with the practice. Yeah, Matt and Alex pulled away really well, and then I knew sort of coming into the first pit stops, I knew that Aiden had pace because he was catching me, and I knew Mark Foster had pace and the likes, and then I decided to pit late. So some of the other side hustle boys, Fuge and Adam, they pitted a bit earlier. I took lefts, so I opted for a left-right sort of tire strategy. So I went lefts with the first pit stop. And then Fuge and I came out with Fuge and Adam, and sort of we decided instead of racing each other, we'd sort of split our strategy a little bit. He pitted a couple of laps before me. I went a little bit longer and managed to make up a little bit of time in the pits on him. And I mean that time gave me third because it was the buffer I needed. My tires were pretty shot by the end of the race, and obviously Fuge came, I think he made up a couple of seconds in the last sort of half a dozen laps from me, and that. But I'm stoked with the race, and I think Mark did a great job chasing Fuge and that. Yeah, so just awesome to be on the podium again, especially after last night's debacle. So yeah.
Right, yeah, indeed. And that's the thing as well, mate. I mean, different horses for courses. Some people need that preparation. They need that time behind the wheel to get themselves ready, both from a driver standpoint, but from a psychological standpoint as well. Others can just hit the gas and get going. And I guess you had a frustrating run last night, so nice for you to be able to turn it around tonight as well. Yes, Timmy's weighing in on it as well. With the big send that he put on you on the final lap. So nice that that didn't come up trumps for him and you were able to bag a podium. You mentioned about, I'm trying to pick it all apart here as we go, mate, and I'm on borrowed time because we've got to get out of here earlier than usual. But with regards to tyres, how were they for you? Did you gamble with changing any along the way during pit stops?
Yeah, so I changed left in the first pit stop, right in the second pit stop.
I like it.
I think it worked pretty well for me. Like I'd done it before, and I've come out the pits, and it's just not felt right at all. I'd practiced, again, going back to the consistency point, I'd practiced that earlier in the week, and it worked for me. So this track, obviously, it worked well. But yeah, my tires, I was just looking before I hopped in here. My tires were shot. The lefts, even after changing them in the first pit stop, sort of down at 61% the front, down at 37% the rear. So they were pretty dead by the end of the race. So.
Banksy, I've got a couple more questions that I want to fire at Kelvin, but I'll let you jump in at this point.
No, you go ahead. I think we're quickly running out of time, are we not? Given that we need to get Adam out of here.
Oh, so you don't want? Okay, no, that's all right. I'll keep going. I thought since you're still here, mate. No. Kelvin, looking at what's to come, mate. I mean, we'll have a look at the championship points, no doubt. In fact, I think we may have already done so, have we? So it's going to be interesting to see what happens here going forward into the final few rounds of the season. What are you most looking forward to next week? I mean, Circuit de la Sarthe, Le Mans, 90 minutes. We know how strong the Porsches are around there. I'm just anticipating that we'll have a big flat-out drag race.
Yeah, look, I'm looking forward to Le Mans, looking forward to Phillip Island. Bathurst, I've never been able to drive it, can't drive it. I enjoy it, but can't drive it. And then Road America, it's a great run into the end of the season. And, obviously from a team perspective, we got Adam at the moment from in Side Hustle, who's leading the championship for AM. So, there'll be an element of helping him out as well, right? I mean, especially for myself and some of the other drivers who probably aren't in with the running around that. It's about sort of stepping up and helping the team and that, which is also really fun, right? I mean, I think the whole sort of team element, probably not something that we talk about a heap, but the guys that I get to race with are a great bunch. They help, really sort of fostering talent and really supportive group when they're not absolutely taking the Michael out of each other and slamming each other. But it's a great bunch to race with, and hopefully we can come away with with a team championship at the end of the series.
All right, mate. Very nicely done. As Banksy said, we are on borrowed time, but great to have you in here. Well done on the result tonight. Great to see you punching through the barrier and kicking some goals there. That was good. Let's see what you bring to the table when we get to Le Mans next week.
Thanks very much. And just a quick shout out for Fuge Gold Mining and Plumon Electrical sponsors for Side Hustle. Those boys are great. But yeah, thanks Zach and everyone else at the Gens. You guys do a great job. Lee in Race Control did a great job tonight. So thanks everyone for what you do, and have a great night, guys.
I just love the fact that in the last 30 seconds, I've realised that somewhere along the way here, we've probably gone about our business incorrectly, because a team has the gold mining sponsorship and not the club. But that's another story. Very nicely done. All
right, thanks guys. Have a great evening. All right, thanks everyone.
Thank you, mate. Well done. Great stuff. Even the comments are giving Kelvin the wrap up. No, he can talk as long as he likes. Great stuff. So Matt Carey got the job done tonight from Alex Schmidt, and as we said, Kelvin Little, Tim Fuge, and Mark Foster, the top five. Banksy, your final thoughts on all of that? Your driver of the night nominations as well, please.
Driver of the night, for me, it's got to be, and I'm having a complete blank. The guy who won the darn thing for Riot Racing.
Carrick.
Matt Carrick, thank you. I couldn't remember the team name, couldn't remember the driver name. Matt Carrick did absolutely superbly, didn't he? And he was in that really tight battle the whole race. Would have been very easy to crack under the pressure, either attacking or defending, because he did both throughout the race, and then to pull away at the last stint with better tyre management and just slightly better strategy. Perfect way to start his career in the AM split.
Yep, absolutely it was. And whether it's just a one-off cameo or whether he actually gets another Guernsey in the AM split remains to be seen. He might be getting a promotion sooner than he anticipated. Rightio, very nicely done. Thank you to you, Liam Banks. Thank you to Adam Lavis. And poor old Kelvin's not going to live that down. If you reckon Kelvin's a good chatter, you should get me on a good night, apparently. So I'm told. But if anyone ever says that I'm a good talker, or I can, or I'm loud, or I can talk under, wet cement, or talk underwater with a mouthful of marbles, I will categorically deny it. We couldn't do this without the great support of our sponsors. Not any of them that are gold miners, though. Waste Options, Orbic Australia, Blackout Electrical Solutions, Login Systems, Astute Finance, Fisher and Door Lawyers, and Flash Graphics. A big thanks to all those people for continuing to make Monday and Thursday night motorsport possible into what is now season 14 on the platforms of the Gentleman Sim Racing Club Term 3 of 2023. Let's have a look at what's coming your way. As far as the rest of the week is concerned, the up-and-comers tomorrow night from Phillip Island and the Mazda MX-5s. That'll be well worth the price of admission. Don't worry about that. Off to Brands Hatch on Wednesday night. Formula Ford kicking things off there. And then off to the clothesline, better known as Winter Motor Raceway in regional Victoria, Benalla. 8:45, 2 sprint races for the supercars there. And actually, just on Benalla and Winton before I go. I got a couple of messages the other day, Banksy. You might remember I went down to Sydney 4 weeks ago and commentated the Picture Partner Sydney 300, right? The somewhat sister event to that is the Winton 300, September 15, 16 and 17, down at Winton Motor Raceway. We're now, getting up towards that 4 weeks away marker from the event getting underway. We had entries for the Sydney 300 open 6 weeks out from the event. Entries haven't even opened yet. There are people asking questions about, as opposed to what the bloody hell's going on with it. Is it happening? I can confirm that entries are going to open very shortly. There'll be information regarding that this week. I can confirm that the event is happening. But unfortunately, Winter Motor Raceway, the Benalla Auto Club and the AASA have dropped the ball on that one because they should have been promoting the living daylights out of it the day the Sydney 300 finished. But that's another story for another day, because you want to continue to build the format. You want to enjoy, ride with that momentum, ride with that interest while it's there. And unfortunately, by not even giving it a mention on their socials until now or later this week, I feel as though they've dropped the ball, and there'll be a few people that just won't be as willing to go and have a crack at it. So I hope I'm wrong, but yeah, when you've got the winner of the Sydney 300 asking questions about it, asking me if I've heard anything about it, and I bloody well haven't, you know that something's not adding up there. Thursday night, we get back on broadcast. Daniel Correa-Sarr and I will bring you the production cars, the MX-5s from Willow Springs. How good's that going to be? The Mazdas. And if it's anything like what we saw in GT4 tonight, I'm looking forward to that immensely. 7:30 Eastern Standard Time with you for 2 sprint races there. And then we go sprint racing in the Porsches from one of the great venues of World Motorsport, Circuit Gilles Villeneuve, Montreal, Canada, on the Ile Notre Dame. And that will be well worth the price of admission, because that is just one of the great racetracks for any category that we take there. And the fact that it's sprint racing, I'm already excited about that. Over the page. Friday night, the Wings and Slicks for you. Formula 3 from Motorland Aragon. 2 sprint races, 8:15 Eastern. Then the GTE cars on Saturday night tackle Mount Panorama for 200 kilometres, 32 laps. The Mountain Men Series continues. Then next week, we're back on broadcast once more. 21st of August 2023. We'll be taking you to Virginia International first up for GT4, to the Circuit de la South straight after for GT3, and all thanks to Orbic and Waste Options. And bear in mind, it'll be a later finish next Monday night, because the race is 90 minutes and it'll be getting underway at around that 8:30 marker, not that 8:45. Is it 8:45 or is it 8:30? It's 8:30, isn't it? Yeah, gotcha. 8:30 next week, so we'll be finishing that around 10 o'clock, and we'll be going through till about 10:30, 10:45 with the post-race show. So a little bit later finish next week. But nonetheless, we're excited about that, because we've got some great racing to come over the final 4 weeks of the term. 5 weeks if you haven't raced yet in week 6, of course. Matty Dench. Oh, Jesus. It's done, isn't it? Really? I mean, think about it. 96 points to the good on Simon Cox already. 4 different manufacturers in the top 4. Simon Cox, Nick Wood, Oscar Glissett. The battle for the minors is hot, with Richard King in 5th, and a gap back to Wayne Hewitt. Reece Dickerson, Jared Knight, Glenn Arnott, Ben Woods. That makes up the top 10. Chuk Fung Wong's in there in the 5th of the manufacturers, the Lambo. Jeff Adams, then Thomas Martin, Martin Carew, and John Wright make up the top 15. The team's championship, the Side Hustle boys on top, and Tim Fuge with Adam Lee Holland there, 401, lead their pro split teammates, Glissett and Dickerson. Then Matty Dench all on his own, 357. And I think that speaks volumes, doesn't it, Banksy, when one bloke's third in the points race of a team's championship?
Yeah, it happens season after season after season, doesn't it? He's always up there.
Certainly does. Magnificent stuff. All right, then. We're just about done. Simon Cox, Rob Hill, Richard King, Jeff Adams make up the top 5 in that race. The AM Split boys, however, are on top. They're the only AM Split team in the top 6. It's quite extraordinary what the boys are doing there at Side Hustle at the moment. Right, we're done. Platforms of the Gentleman Sim Racing Club, Monday Night Motorsport. Nice to be back in the chair after being a spectator of sorts last week. And I don't do the whole spectator thing very, very well, but I do it better when it's non-motorsport events. So it was nice to go and witness a bit of history at the FIFA Women's World Cup. There's more of that this week. So Boomers play 5:30 Wednesday afternoon. Matilda's 8 o'clock. Great national level sporting competition and international level sporting competition coming your way. Get behind the national teams on Wednesday. And then you might want to be chucking a sickie on Thursday, quite frankly. Massive week ahead. We wish the Matildas well against England. We hope. We've got our fingers crossed that on Thursday night we're talking about a World Cup final rather than the dreaded third place playoff. But time will tell on that. On behalf of Liam Banks, Adam Lavis, the rest of the broadcast commentary and production team here on the platforms of the Gentleman Sim Racing Club, the two Matts got it done. Denchin Pro, Carrigan Am, and of course we saw some cracking racing with the two Sams, 1 and 2, Muir ahead of Chapman in that GT4 earlier this evening. Good racing, good fun. Virginia delivered Willow Springs delivered the goods, delivered all the drama, entertainment and excitement. And Catalunya might have been lacking a little bit of that, but we saw some good stuff along the way to keep us intrigued right to the very end. On behalf of the crew, thanks for your company. Monday Night Motorsport, Week 6 of Term 3 for 2023. We look forward to your company again on Thursday night for the production cars. Again, Willow Springs featuring, and then onto the circuit Gilles Villeneuve, an all North American doubleheader and an all sprint racing night of action right here on the GSRC platforms. Until then, I'm Zach Caban bidding you a very good evening, everybody. Bye for now.